Yeah, but like, where the fuck do you even start with this one, man?
I'm thinking let's like what I always like to do is let's start with the story and work from there. So, in my opinion, overall, I think the story was handled better in the remake. Because in the original there wasn't really much of a story. You only had Jill, Carlos, Nemesis, and Nikolai, who I feel like, even though he's the main villain, aside from Nemesis, but Nikolai's the only villain that talks to you. Even though he's the main
Yeah,
villain,
he's the human.
he's barely in the original game. Like, he just shows
Yeah,
up and leaves, and he doesn't actually do much except shoot you down in a helicopter at the very end. So
yeah,
for
it's like
that,
he just kind of gets wrecked.
I think the remake had a much better story. I liked Mikhail. They threw in who was his name? Tyler. It was with a T.
Tyrell.
Tyrell. I was gonna say Tyrone, and I'm like, there's no way that's right.
Yeah, there's no way they have the balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Tyrell.
I was fine with Tyrell. I thought he was he didn't do much, and like they. Oh, by the way, spoilers.
Yeah, this is the full fucking spoilers. I have no idea if you're watching this and you're not paying attention to that. Like, come on, for fuck's sake.
Exactly. Yeah. So Tyrell doesn't really do much. The story gets rid of him almost as quickly as he's introduced. But I thought he was fine, and I felt like he played a really good foil to Carlos. Carlos was very Dudley Do Right. He was very, we gotta save the city, boys. We gotta save the civilians. And when Carlos goes like, "You heard Bard. We can't hand him over to Umbrella. They're gonna kill him." And Tyrell's like, "That's not our call to make. We got to do our job." Da. I thought Tyrell was good. I
Yeah.
thought Mikhail was good, but I don't feel like we got enough of him. I thought Nikolai was great. I think it's stupid that he's a double agent now, but aside from that, I thought he played a great villain. You go
I
ahead.
thought he was just entertaining, honestly.
Oh yeah, it was very entertaining. He was
He's so
he was
fucking
super
evil.
fucking twirly mustache.
It's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. I've been ranting for a bit. You go off what you think about the story and the characters and whatnot.
I don't think much of it because like I'll agree with you outright. It's better. It's straight better than the original, but I don't know, like the original never really resonated with me. Like I like Jill in the original because like she calls everybody a bitch, and it's kind of like she's Sarah Connor basically, and I like that. That's pretty entertaining. But this, like, at least they kind of acknowledge this is sort of Jill's biggest fear. There's something more here. She's still a pretty flat two-dimensional character for the most part. It's Sarah Connor, but at the very least, there's a little something more here.
I highly agree, and that's something I brought up in the stream earlier, where I really like that Jill has nightmares about becoming a zombie, because it's something that none of the characters in any of these games ever acknowledge. Like, they see everyone around them turning into zombies, and it's something horrible. But all the main characters get bit all the time, and they're like, It's like, I don't get it.
Okay, it has to be like in canon. They're just never bit. Like the canon playthrough is a no-hit run.
I would have to disagree personally. My main thing with the disagreement is everyone knows about green herbs. Everyone has, at least they seem to have, a really good understanding of what green herbs are and how they work. So my argument is that the canon explanation is that all the main characters are immune.
I don't know, because Jill does get infected. She like directly gets infected with the T virus from Nemesis.
Right. So then the explanation you have to go with is, oh, well, that was a more direct hit, or that was a more powerful strain. You gotta start fucking pulling shit out your ass at this point, and there's no good explanation for it.
Maybe herbs are supposed to be like this actual miracle cure-all, but only if you use them like pretty much immediately, and Joel had been incubating at that point for like a day.
Maybe. So I could see that. But if that's the true reason, then you're saying all these people in this city were turned into zombies just because they didn't have any fucking grass nearby. Like, that's such a shitty fucking reason. That's so stupid.
That's what they get. That's what they deserve for not preparing. They don't optimize their fucking inventories, bro.
And speaking of viruses now, people should stop stocking up on toilet paper and start getting some green herbs, huh? Am I right?
It's relevant, bro. It's hashtag relevant.
What's with that opening cutscene? That live action cutscene is so strange.
Okay, let's talk about that. That's the one thing that just kind of out of nowhere bothered me. Why was it there?
Do you think maybe, like, so I'm assuming they already planned this live action cutscene, just this, cute little thing to open up with. Do you think maybe they threw in a couple of extra scenes or altered some dialogue to emphasize things like, we've never seen a pandemic spread like this before, and then you had the government official go like, the entire southwest or whatever of America has been quarantined off, and I'm like, okay,
come on now.
This is a bit much.
I think it's just really convenient timing for marketing.
It probably is.
This is free fucking marketing.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they planned it like that, exactly like that already, and it lined up a little too nicely, but I believe it.
But I don't know, like, I like the idea. Well, what I would have preferred for the opening credits was a detailed cinematic of building Nemesis, because that's an interesting idea for an opening, is build the main thing.
Yeah, I think that would have been better. It's weird, man. I'm not gonna phrase this question correctly, but do you think they didn't do enough to emphasize Nemesis?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. See, that's a weird one. I think I think the problem is, like, he stops being the Nemesis that most people expected.
Yeah.
After, like, the first quarter, and then he just stops. Now he's just a cinematic boss enemy.
Yeah. I think that's what's bothering me. And it's just, I mean, so okay, you know what? Let me just fuck. There's more I want to get to. I'll save that for later, man. For when we get to the gameplay.
Yeah, like, we can talk about, like, just off the fly. Like, we probably don't even need, like, we can just talk back and forth about little shit and just, like, be as loose as possible. I don't give a fuck. I have no format for this.
Well then, so let me throw this out there, and I don't want to offend anyone. If you love Resident Evil 3, more power to you. If you prefer it to Resident Evil 2 Remake, you prefer it to other games in the series, more power to you. Whatever you love, I'm not trying to stop anyone from enjoying their stuff. That's fine. What I find bonkers is that you have Resident Evil 2 Remake, for example, where you pretty much explore the entire RPD. You're kind of cordoned off and locked off from certain rooms for a while, but for the most part, there is a massive emphasis on exploration, which I feel is very core to the Resident Evil experience. You start to lose it in Resident Evil 4, and from then on, it's like super action. But I feel like exploration for Resident Evil games is very, very much the heart and core of the series. So then you get Resident Evil 3 Remake, where the first area is at Raccoon City Streets in front of the Toy Uncle store. And that part is fantastic, in my opinion. It's fairly open. There are 2 different paths you can go down, which come to meet later on, but it's not like it forces you down one path or the other. It's still fairly open. After that, the entire game's linear. There's no more exploration. You're done. You get to the sewers next, which is just a fork in the road, and that's it. Like, that's the entire sewers. There's nothing there. After that, like, there isn't even forks in the... Well, there's a fork in the road for the labs. But again, it's just a fork in the road. Like, I don't understand what people see to this, at least in terms of the level design. Resident Evil 3 Remake doesn't have anything, and I know that the original was far more linear compared to the others, but there was still something more there. The Raccoon City streets in the original was freaking huge, and that was only half the game. But after the Raccoon City streets, the clock tower had a little bit of branching, not much, but a little bit. The Dead Factory had a little bit of branching. This one doesn't have anything, and it's just, I don't know. That really upset me that pretty much the last 3 quarters, like the majority of Resident Evil 3 Remake, is just a linear action game. And that really bothers me because that's not this game's strength. That's not this franchise's strength.
Worst part is, like, it can be the franchise's strength. And here's the problem, though. It's not this game's strength. It's not this engine's strength.
Oh, you're talking about how yeah. No, that's 100%. You have a game like Resident Evil 6 that focuses on action, and it does fairly well for itself.
Yeah, like, beginning to end, it is balls to the fucking wall action. This was designed intentionally the same way, because this is just off the back of Resident Evil 2 Remake. This is right off that game's back. That game was specifically designed to be a much slower experience, where combat was less about, like, shoot them all, kill them all, like God sort them out, and it was more intentionally about just getting away. Getting away was the big thing with combat. Yeah, you could kill enemies if that was advantageous to do, or you could just stun them for long enough to run around, or you could incapacitate them if that was easier, etc.
Yeah, that's something that oh, no, go ahead. Yeah. No, you go ahead.
Yeah, that's all I was saying is that here you do have the ability to do something like the dismemberment system, which it's here, okay, that's appreciated, but it doesn't serve any purpose this time.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And that's something that I really loved about Resident Evil 2 Remake. Similar in the way that the original game handled it. So, if you know what you're doing in the original Resident Evil 2, you know exactly what zombies to dodge, what zombies to ignore, and if you do all that, then by the end of the game, you're flooding in ammunition. But the first time you play Resident Evil 2 Remake, you're not sure what you're supposed to emphasize on. And what the original and the remake of Resident Evil 2 did so well is that you just shoot the zombie just enough times, like 2 or 3 times tops, for the zombie to do their goofy, like, falling backwards animation.
Yeah, like the stun animation.
Yeah, they don't even need to fall over completely on the floor, just a little, like, backward steps. And then you can run past them for free. You don't need to kill them. And that's what you're supposed to do for the majority of the game in order to save your ammunition. And it worked out really well. If you try to go out of your way to kill every enemy, you're going to have a bad time. It's not going to work out for you.
Yeah.
But these games work exceptionally well if you do just enough to push an enemy out of the way, so to speak. But then you get and I believe the original Resident Evil 3 played in a similar way. You have the red barrels, yeah, obviously, but I believe the same idea applies, where you just do barely enough damage to get past without having to spend all your ammo. But then...
Yeah, we'll talk about why that's even more emphasized in that game, because you really need to save your ammo in RE3 in comparison to the others.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. They do... So, if you're really conservative and you know what you're doing, then, again, you ended up, like, flooding. Like, I forget how much I ended up with and the end of Resident Evil 3 on hard mode. But I think I ended up with like 50 Magnum bullets or something. It was ridiculous. It was
Oh yeah, something fucking crazy.
it was absolute overkill. But again, like the first time you play, you don't really know. You have to be careful with your ammo, and the ammo crafting system emphasizes that. Where if you keep making more of the same ammo, it gets a multiplier bonus later on, which is really cool.
Yeah.
God, it's a shame they didn't bring that back either.
They didn't. Can we just talk about that briefly as a little tangent?
Yeah, talk about anything.
This is something that I complained about during the stream, and for remakes, I think this is kind of a sin, if anything. It cuts more than it adds.
Yeah.
And I hate that. I fucking hate that.
Yeah, I think Resident Evil 2 Remake handled it well. Some things were cut, but other things were added. So, like, for example, sewer levels are usually a horrible bane on video games. I think the sewer level in Resident Evil 2 Remake is really good. It's
quite good.
It's creative. It has like 2 or 3 floors to it. It has the G larva or whatever they're called. The G stage 2. I don't know.
G creature.
G creature. Those guys are awesome. Like they're really powerful. They're really scary. You're not sure what to deal with them when you first see them. They fucking swim through the sewers. That shit's fucking scary, dude.
Yeah, like the first time you see that shit's freaked me out. Well, first of all, that's interesting too because like it's taking something from the original, that boss fight, and expands it to where no, this is a regular enemy now.
Yeah, they took something from the original and remixed it. And you know what? You had that's something I always remember is the way they completely did the way they completely redid Neptune in Resident Evil 1. It's a totally new area, and it's crazy. It looks really cool. So these and don't get me wrong, like Resident Evil 2 Remake, sorry. Resident Evil Remake 2.
I just call it Remake 2.
Resident Evil
I just call it Remake 2.
Remake 2 is going to be when they remake the first game a second time.
No, fuck you. Fuck anyone who says that. Anyone who's actually advocating for that goddamn thing can just get out right now. No, that's peak jumping the shark. That's jumping the Neptune.
Oh, man. No, but, like, don't get me wrong. Resident Evil 2 Remake had issues as well. Like, we've talked about that a bunch. How, the A-B scenarios are way too similar to each other, even more so than
it's pitiful.
Than the original PS1 game. So that's a fucking problem. But overall, I think Resident Evil 2 Remake really did justice to the original game. I can't say the same for Resident Evil 3 Remake. It really feels like they cut out way more than they added in. And what they added in is like half of it is reused assets from Resident Evil 2 Remake.
It's like, okay, let's actually just like briefly go down a list here. Okay, what did they add in? They got Dog Nemesis. Okay, that's fine, I guess. That's kind of interesting. And
what, you're done?
Yeah, like what else? I'm genuinely asking, what else did they add?
I would argue that the opening, not the opening, but the first actual area of the game, the toy uncle store and the pharmacy little spot, the supermarket, all that stuff, that first area of the game, I would call that new content. They're bringing back the Raccoon City streets, but they're doing it in a very different way. It's not,
okay.
If and I'm positive you noticed this, but later on you have like the chalk drawing on the floor in the alleyway.
Yeah, with like the little train tracks and everything.
Yeah, so that's brought back from the original game.
RE3, yeah.
So that's bringing back. But I would argue that, Moon's Donuts, the subway station place, I would argue that's new content. I would argue that the substation is expanding upon the original game substation in a fantastic way. I think the substation in the remake is so fucking good. But at this point, you're really fucking drawing for straws at what the fuck is left.
Yeah, because, okay, here's what they cut. They cut giant spider enemies. They cut a boss fight. They cut 2 areas. They cut 1 area and replaced it with Resident Evil 2 remake assets. Literally just copy pasting unused stuff from the Nest in Remake 2. It's literally fucking called Nest 2.
Yeah, that was insanely disappointing, and I kind of saw where it was going, where when I was like, oh, Carlos went under the hospital to look for the vaccine, and I'm like, oh, it's an underground lab. We don't actually get to go to Dead Factory. Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, the one Resident Evil game that doesn't have a big evil underground lab as the final area. And you're just like, nope, fuck it, add the underground lab.
Yeah. Which, you know what? It's such a fucking shame. It's such a remarkable fucking shame. Because you have all these notes in the hospital talking about how they're disposing bodies. And the nurses are questioning, like, where are all these bodies going to? Why do they need special handling? I don't get it. I'm not against a hospital having an underground lab. That's fine. And that can be the final area. That's fine. But the fact that it's literally reused assets, like it's literally Nest 2. They just fucking copy pasted the hallways. Like, dude,
it's a fucking slap to the face.
It is. It should have been dark and grungy and messy and bloody all over. It should have been fucking nasty looking, just like the original Dead Factory. It should have been a Dead Factory, is what it should have been. Just put it under the hospital now. That's fine. I'm not going to bitch about that. I would prefer if, Jill takes a brief saunter through the park and then ends up at the Dead Factory. I would prefer that. But if you want to make it under an underground lab, that's fine. But there's no reason it shouldn't be the Dead Factory unless you're just really fucking cutting corners and really just going super low budget as possible.
Well, it has to be cutting corners because, notice how this game has no puzzles.
Oh, yeah.
Beyond the one vaccine puzzle, which I swear to God is just chance.
It's just thrown in there. Well, it's not chance. You just have to play. You have to play the logic puzzle. Where,
Yeah, no, obviously, my bad. No, but it's it feels randomized.
Right. What I'm saying is that, set the first one at low, then put the other 2 medium low, high low, low medium, low high. Oh, it didn't work.
Yeah,
so,
it's like that bullshit.
Yeah, and it's stupid.
I hate that.
It's stupid
That's
as hell.
infuriating.
It's really stupid. And you know what's even fucking more annoying is it's not like Resident Evil 2 remakes. It's not like that lab puzzle with the, mixing solutions into each other to get the right amount. It's not like that one was fucking, it's amazing, it's groundbreaking.
No, but it's something
exactly.
More.
I was gonna say, I find that one annoying, but I'm not gonna discredit the game for it. They put effort towards it. I see what they did here. The one in Resident Evil 3, it's this is just really fucking stupid. It's pointless.
And every area has at least one major one in Remake 2. You got the night plug puzzle, which, is it ridiculous? Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous, but it's a video game. Who cares?
Yeah, well, the night plug puzzle. Oh, that was a legit. So I was about to say, it's basically just looking for keys and taking them to the panel, but I forgot. There's a fucking note on the wall that's like, oh, if this is next to this, then this has to go here. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's an actual puzzle. And it's not like the original where you just dump them all into the slot and just run on your way.
Yeah.
No, it's legit.
Yeah, that's actually fucking hilarious how the original Resident Evil 2, that scene makes more sense than in the remake.
I don't care. It's fun. It's fun. I enjoyed it.
It's so stupid. In the remake, it's like, oh, if this piece is here, then this piece has to be next to this piece and opposite of the wall from this one. It's like, the fuck?
I always like to picture that's like these fucking like for whatever reason they're like just these blue collar workers who have to work down there before the city went to shit, and they forget the order, so they start screaming at each other like, hey Jimmy, fucking yo Jimmy, get over here. Where the fuck do I put the rook plug in relation to the queen plug, which is adjacent to the knight plug? No, you fucking idiot, you fucking spurg. You put the knight plug adjacent to the king plug, and you put the rook across from the queen. You fucking idiot.
I have always fucking loved that idea of how the hell do these normal umbrella employees even deal with this shit? Like the fucking...
we don't get that.
Can you imagine fucking Spencer's butlers running around his mansion? It's like, oh fuck, I forgot I need the crest to open this door.
It's, oh, for fuck's sake, where did I put the fake key so I can get the
real key? So I can
get the fucking mask?
Oh, fucking hell.
Where's the fucking fake key?
God, I remember how to put the hour hand on the clock before. Why can't I recall anymore?
It's like, okay, so is it like, what is the color order of this fucking painting room, okay? I need to get to the courtyard right now.
Oh, fucking hell. If I don't get to the front door immediately, the UPS guy is gonna leave. Why the fuck is this mansion laid out like this?
If he leaves, how the fuck are we gonna get our order of fucking death masks?
Oh, yeah, right? We put all this budget into this fucking puzzle room in the cemetery for some reason. I don't know. Spencer just fucking pays me whatever, so I don't give a shit.
I love it. It's so great.
It's pretty fucking great. Yeah, we don't get any of that in Resident Evil 3. We don't get any of it.
There's no puzzles.
Actually. The closest thing to a puzzle is the lab and running the substation. Oh no, the subway office. Yeah, I mean, if we're really grasping at straws, that's a puzzle.
Okay, we got 2.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean,
we got 2.
There's really no puzzles in this game, which is crazy because Resident Evil 2 Remake had them and did a good job at them. So
yeah, and it's like, okay, just if you even just copy pasted them from Resident Evil 3, they're fucking basic, but you know what? It's something.
It's something, yeah.
And it's like, even like the saunter through Raccoon City that Jill has after the hospital and in between Dead Factory, that's not an insignificant portion of the game.
No,
like that's pretty decently big.
No, it's a like you said, fairly decently big part of the game. And don't forget the fountains puzzle, where you have to put the gears in the right order.
Yeah, the 4 gears.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and then Gravedigger, that entire boss fight with the fucking Tremors monster.
What? What Gravedigger? What's that?
Remember the big worm?
Oh, I thought that was the Tremors monster you just said.
Yeah, like I think its name is Gravedigger if I remember correctly.
That's a pretty cool name. I'm down with that one.
It's like, but where is it?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Giant animals are unrealistic. Don't worry about it. Giant gator? What? Nah, don't worry about it.
That's fine. That's fine. Everything is fine.
I mean, I'm really glad. What? I'm glad they brought back the giant gator. I don't understand why the giant spiders are not back. I don't get it. And don't get me wrong, they don't fucking do anything in the original game, the giant spiders. You just run past them.
No, they're bitches.
Yeah, they're fucking worthless. You run past them, they'll never catch you. But still, like, that doesn't mean that I didn't like them. And I feel like they could be really cool if you do something good with them.
Imagine a giant tarantula in this engine.
Yes!
That would look fucking horrifying.
Dude, it'd be fucking crazy. I'd love it. Man, it's... maybe they didn't do it because they didn't think they could pull it off. I don't know.
Okay,
dude.
You know what it is? Like, you know how they have to, like, texture in everything by scanning it for the RE engine?
Someone was too scared to scan in a fucking tarantula.
No one wants to scan a spider. No one wants to touch it. That's it. That's the reason, is they couldn't pay anyone to touch it. And you know what? Fair enough.
That's some lore I can get behind.
If that's the reason, that's a good enough fucking reason for me.
Yeah, I don't know. How about that there action, eh? Yeah,
The combat's not great. Straight up.
you don't like Dark Souls dodging?
Okay, so Resident Evil has a history with dodge mechanics like this. This is near identical to the dodge from Revelations 2, with one major exception. In Revelations 2, the slide dodge had way more iframes. This has basically none unless you get the perfect dodge.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. You're saying like unless you pull off the dodge window that then leads to the perfect dodge with the slow motion auto aim and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 100% iframes.
The slide is worthless.
Yeah,
The slide is worthless. You will get hit.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not even a slide. It's like Jill does a little shuffle, and it just doesn't do anything. It's like I don't know. It's pointless. It's
I mean, I guess I don't know.
the purpose of the shuffle is to punish you for dodging improperly, and so I'll go on. I'll try to go on like a brief rant if possible. Um, the shuffle punishing you if you dodge improperly, that's a good idea on paper, because the perfect dodge you get out for free. Like that's really fucking strong. There needs to be a punishment for doing it wrong. However, the perfect dodge has such a tiny window to get through. So it feels shitty when you try to go for it because you're going to mess up more than half the time, and it's annoying when you mess it up. But that's fine if it can be left to a last ditch effort. If a zombie has you cornered and you put yourself in a bad spot and it's like, "Oh shit, I'm not going to get out of this without not taking damage," then you hope for the perfect dodge. That's fine if that's where it ended. If that was the entire perfect dodge mechanic in the game, then I'm not against it. But Resident Evil 3 Remake just fucking, I don't know what it does, man. It fucking takes a dump truck and just like, oh, where do I put all these zombies? It just fucking dumps 50 zombies on your ass, man. It's ridiculous. You get fucking triple the amount of zombies on screen at any one time in comparison to Resident Evil 2 Remake. It's fucking absurd, and they're all gunning for you. Like, you basically have to get fucking good at the dodge mechanic if you want any hope of getting by unscathed. And to be fair, the game gives you a ton of healing in order to tank through a lot of sections. But it still feels like the game is punishing you for taking damage. It feels like you're doing something wrong, and that feels bad when it doesn't seem like it's your fault. I hate it. I think it's fucking dumb. I think the dodging window is barely good enough against Nemesis, but against normal enemies, it's like, fuck it, dude. This thing's fucking stupid.
No, 100% agree. It's like even during Nemesis, like it's fine, except for the final boss fight when he can just across the map.
Fuck that. Jesus.
Where it's like, oh, you get stun locked by the roar. Fuck you, spear tackle. All your health is gone. Fine to danger, bitch.
So here's the worst part about final boss Nemesis is at least with dog Nemesis or flamethrower Nemesis or whatever, at least with those versions, you typically have the option to just run out of the way. Like you just keep running backwards, and you should be able to just completely avoid most of his attacks. And then when he's jumping at you, then you got to do a dodge or whatever, and that's fine. But then you get meat wall Nemesis, and it's like, nah, you had best have fucking mastered dodging by now, because my attacks take up fucking 80% of the arena.
It's Bed of Chaos.
I'm just gonna fucking place my arm down on the ground and slide across the floor. It's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and if I touch you, that's 80 to 90% of your health.
Mm-hmm.
Gone.
It's pretty fucking, it's bad. On the I know you haven't done Inferno yet, but
Do I even want to at this point?
you don't, honestly. There's nothing well, we'll get on that in a moment, but what I will say briefly, for the final boss on Inferno, all right? I have the Stars Handbook for easier dodges, and I have both defense coins, all right? You die in 3 hits, no questions asked, just it is what it is. First hit sends you to caution, second hit sets you to danger. That's the rules for that boss fight. Nemesis does this one combo that looks like a normal attack, but it's a combo. He just slams his hand down on you, and it fucking tracks you. You can't run from it. You have to dodge it perfectly. If you dodge the first hit, then the next hits, they kind of line up. So you can do it fine if you dodge the first hit. If you get hit by the first hit, you're done. That's the end of it. If you mess up in the middle of the combo, you're done. That's the end of it. On the easier difficulties, like I said before, if you mash the buttons, you can get Jill out of the stun state a little bit faster. And that works for Inferno as well, except for this one combo. And it's because of that combo that it took me like 3 hours to beat the final boss on Inferno alone, period. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, I don't know. That's when the game, more than anything, broke down for me, where I don't understand why dodging is a requirement. It wasn't even a requirement in the original game. You only...
And that's the fucked up part.
Yeah. That's the part that, like, they emphasize dodging to a fault. You needed dodging in the original to beat Nemesis, and that was it. Aside from that, and you're probably going to end up dodging accidentally against the hunters, just because, you know, that's what happens and it's fine. But aside from that, like, Resident Evil 3 played just like Resident Evil 2, the original game. Dodging was just something they added in. But in this one, dodging makes up the whole game. And I don't understand why they did that. I don't get it.
See, I get why. I understand why, because, like, on paper, that's a good idea. It's take a mechanic and actually use it for all it's worth, center your game around it. Okay, that's on paper a good idea. The mechanic's got to be good, because if you fuck up this mechanic, then you've centered your game around a concept that is just unfeasible to use. And I feel like the dodge is just really unfeasible a lot of the time, because the window is so specific and the startup for it is so long that when you're facing, like, zombies, okay, fine, they're doing these slow command grabs, whatever. When the hunters show up, get fucked.
Yeah, and it's crazy for the hunters because I guess like you said, they don't have it on standard difficulty, but from hardcore moving onwards, they have
they have one hit.
Yeah, they have a straight up one-shot kill. You can be 100% health, green fine, like dark green fine. It doesn't even let you use healing items anymore. But he does that one slash attack that magically targets your throat, and it's just, oh, game over. Have fun, idiot.
Yep.
It's like, what the fuck?
It's like, I understand the original Resident Evils did that, but the hunters were not as... in Resident Evil 1, they were pretty fucked. Okay, fair enough. In no other game were they this fucked.
Resident Evil 1, I think...
Those are the worst.
I think
to the day. Those are still the
those
strongest.
hunters took it pretty far.
Those are the worst hunters in the series. Those are legitimately the scariest, because holy shit. Just get one shot at off screen.
Yeah, and not only that, but the only way to effectively fight them is to perfectly time your shotgun blast.
Yeah.
You needed to hit them with the shotgun blast right when they were getting up off the ground. But if you do it too soon, they still have iframes, and that doesn't count. You do it too late, they already jumped in the air, and you're done. It's like, holy shit. But really, this one's not that far off. They don't do the throat slash as often.
No,
But it's still fucking there, and it feels like shit when you get caught by it. Because it looks...
I had that live, and I was astonished. Like, oh, we're bringing this back.
Yep. I hope you love it. I don't know. It feels like shit when you get caught in it because there's not much you can do about it. It looks just like it looks like a normal attack, and there's a fucking delay behind it. So if you're expecting the regular attack, you're gonna dodge early and you get fucked by it, and it's a one-shot kill. It's like, nah, you know what? I'm good. No thanks.
Nah, like, if we're talking like where the dodge really fucking fails, is that even if you successfully dodge once, what's gonna happen is that you're gonna potentially recover into a position where you're gonna get command grabbed. And the final boss with Nemesis is the worst for this. Where, okay, you successfully dodge Nemesis, fantastic. Here's 2 zombies that are going to grab you from off screen. Well, the camera bugs out because it's so zoomed into you that you can't possibly see in your periphery for these command grab zombies.
I couldn't agree more.
That's infuriating.
That was a problem for me throughout the game. I know you played on standard. So, well, for your first playthrough, you played on standard, which is way more forgiving. I played on hardcore, which is a fucking mistake. I think Resident Evil 3 is fine enough on standard. I think most people will enjoy it and good enough on standard. On hardcore, without any items, it's just fucking annoying. It's obnoxious.
It's just get fucked.
It probably happened to me about 2 or 3 times where I would dodge and I would dodge a zombie or I dodge a hunter or some shit. And while I was doing the slow motion, shooting the enemy, I would then get grabbed by a zombie from behind me. And it's just like, I don't know, like, what are you supposed to do? Like, I don't get it. And of course, on hardcore difficulty, zombies are fucking bullet sponges, which was perfectly acceptable in Resident Evil 2 Remake because it was rare to find more than 2 zombies at a time. And if...
Yeah, like, they spaced out enemies.
Yeah. And if a room had, like, 4 zombies, it was typically a really large room with this really long desk in the middle of the room for you to kite zombies around. And it worked. Like, they had a reason why they laid out the rooms this way. Resident Evil 3 Remake doesn't seem to have any real logic behind a lot of layouts. Like, the fucking, the bottom of the stairs in front of Moon's Donuts, there's fucking 4 zombies there. And it's impossible, It's impossible to run past them. It's impossible to take them down one at a time. That's unreasonable. You have to use the electric surge generator, which is fine, but then that makes it a fucking set piece. There's no real gameplay there. There's no challenge. Just every time you run through that area, just remember to fucking check in to your local surge generator. It's like, Resident Evil 2 didn't need that. Resident Evil 2 did fucking excellent without it.
If anything else, this is making me appreciate the Resident Evil 2 Remake way, way more. And just how careful a fucking balance that thing had.
I felt exactly the same way when I beat Resident Evil 3. And when I beat Resident Evil 3, I put in Resident Evil 2 Remake to play it for a bit. And I just found myself getting caught in the game and just going as long as I could. And I got as far as when you get to the attic and you access the statue puzzle.
Clock tower?
No, not the clock tower. The attic where you access the you have to use the C4 to blow up the wall. You get to the statue.
Yeah.
There's a zombie that was hanging from the roof. The bookshelf, falls over and closes the door. You know that scene, right?
Yeah.
So I forgot, and I was playing on standard, by the way. I forgot that a licker shows up there. I didn't bring my shotgun, and I tried my best to run past the licker. One hit from the licker put me in danger. Next hit killed me. That to me is pretty bullshit, on standard especially. And I'm like, I didn't like that. But you know what? That was one fucking time the game played dirty. When Resident Evil 3 Remake does it, every fucking 5 minutes the game throws some fucking bullshit your way. The game can't go 2 fucking steps without being like, oh, here's a zombie around the corner you didn't see. It's like, fuck you. Fuck you. I'm done. It's just so fucking obnoxious.
It's like, hey, remember that part in the RPD where it's like, fuck you, blow up C4? Here's like 7.
My
No, here's
God.
8. Here's 8 zombies.
There's 4 in the showers. There's 2 in the next room. Another
And then
comes through the door.
7, excuse me.
It might be 8. I might be miscounting, but I think it's a total of 7. It's like, what the fuck? Like, for what? Like, there's no purpose there other than to be like, just fucking spray and pray. This is a cool part, right? Just, it's action. You don't like action? It's like, no, I don't like...
Not in this engine.
Exactly. I don't like action in this game. Not the way you're presenting it. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's blah. Like, you know,
yeah.
You know what? Resident Evil 4 did it really well. Where Resident Evil 4 will throw like 8 enemies at you, and it's really overwhelming. But you know what that game had? You pop one guy in the head, you run in the middle of a group, and you roundhouse kick the whole fucking the whole fucking posse. And it worked. And it was engaging and it was fun. And that game had slow-paced action, but for what it did, it worked. You can't have something like that in this game where you don't
No, not at all.
where you don't have defensive items, where you don't have a dodge roll that's reliable, because fuck man, even in that scene, like, to be fair, you're playing as Carlos in that particular moment, but moments like that are not necessarily rare as Jill either. And if you try to dodge roll past an enemy, like the fucking the part in the bridge on the lab where you have fucking two fucking possessed zombie enemies, 2 parasite zombies, put it that way. You have 2 parasite zombies and like 2 pale zombies coming at you on that bridge. It doesn't work to fucking, with handguns, to fucking try to slow them down little by little. Like, you're not going to be able to do it on hardcore, at least.
No,
It's unreasonable. They're going to reach you at the end of the bridge. And guess what fucking happens when they reach you at the end of the bridge? They fucking turn around, because that's the tether. And it fucking blew my mind when I saw that. I'm like...
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. So what it was like at the so I come to the end of the bridge, all right, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm out of room. I have to go into the next room now. I have to go back through the door, and it ended up cornering myself. I'm like, oh well, now I'm really fucked. I can't get to the door in time. Every one of them just fucking turned around. That's like where the tether is. That's where the line is. They will not go past that line. And then I can inch forward a little, because the way it is, you get like this square platform and then this narrow bridge and then another square platform that leads to the room you're supposed to go to. You know what I'm saying? That area?
Yeah, I remember that room. I remember that room.
So like that first square platform, if you dissect it in half, like you create 2 triangles, you dissect it in half that way, that line is the tether. They won't cross that line. It's fucking bizarre. I don't know. And I feel like the whole fucking game's that way, where they set you up in these impossible situations, and instead of, setting them up properly, having fewer enemies, having them, go down more easily, or just doing something, instead of that, they're like, we'll put a tether here. It's just, I don't know. They fucked up.
I don't know, like, just the AI pathing in general, I felt was, like, very bizarre. Just with some of the level, it wasn't designed with a lot of the levels in mind. The specific one I'm thinking about, worst of all, was in the hospital where you're playing as Carlos, and there's the operating room with 2 hunters. I could just walk back and forth between 2 doors right there, and I guess the hunters would constantly lose me. and they would constantly reset back to their default position. So I could just pot shot on them endlessly.
So it's not the, I know what room you're talking about. It's not the operating room. There is an operating room that's actually called an operating room. But yeah, that's a room where there's like several beds and there's like lockers at the end or something. It looks like an operating
something
room.
like that. I forget the actual name of the room.
Yeah.
But it's like there's 2 hunters in it, and you need the cassette tape.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, just so people know what room you're talking about. I forget the name of the room either, but it's the room where you get the cassette tape that you then combine with the tape recorder. For me, what I did was I would pop in there, get the hunter's attention, shoot them with the assault rifle a little bit, and then I would leave the room and I'd back to the opposite wall that the door's facing. It takes a long fucking time, but eventually one of those hunters will open that door. But the door opening animation is so long that I just fucking rail him down and then he's done. That's it. And then after...
Yeah, like, I know one of them will open the door, but another one won't.
The other one won't.
He never will.
I don't understand. Not only will he not, but he'll go to the other end of the room and turn his fucking back on you.
Yeah, he'll reset his position every single time. I saw him run as fast as the model could go to reset himself. It was insane.
It's fucking bizarre. I don't understand why he did that. And this is something that I am like 99% positive this is something that will never happen in Resident Evil 2 Remake.
I don't remember it happening.
Like, the closest I could think that something like this would happen is for the G creatures. Like, they won't follow you out of the sewer water and up on the steps.
Yeah.
But fine, whatever. Like, the G creatures are limited to sewer water. Okay. It's not like the liquors will reset. The liquors are waiting for you at the fucking door. They know you're in that room. Then they're going to keep slashing at that fucking door until you come through. They won't open the door, unfortunately. But it's not like they're going to back off. Unless, like, you totally leave the fucking area and you go to the opposite side of the RPD and then you come back around. And yeah, at that point, they fucking reset. But it's not the same way as these hunters. Like, dude, you go out 2 doors and that hunter beelines back to his fucking tether spot.
That's just, why? And, like, this is coming off the game where Mr. X was a thing. Let's not forget, that is a motherfucker who will beeline his ass to you. If you so much as fire your gun at the wrong part of the building, the detector will pick that up, and it's going to send a Mr. X after you.
I forgot about that, and I wonder how much of it is bad luck, and how much of it... So, like, if you shoot a zombie in the main hall, you bet your ass in a couple minutes, Mr. X is coming for you. I wonder how much of that is bad luck. Was Mr. X already on the way and it just so happened? Or did the game register, you shot your gun in this area, so we're going to spawn Mr. X like, a couple rooms away and he's coming for you? I'm not sure what it is.
I think it's the spawn. Because I've seen videos of people manipulating the Mr. X spawn to where what can happen is you can get 2 just existing at the same time.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
I've seen videos guys doing that, so I'm assuming it's just a spawn with certain triggers and they go to certain points.
Which is unfortunate. I think everyone wishes that Mr. X had a constant presence. I'm not saying a model of Mr. X has to be constantly running, going through the RPD and stuff, but it would have been nice if if the computer in the background kept a realistic note of Mr. X is in this room, and then he heard you, so now he has to go through this room, and then this room next, and then this room next. And if you wanted to visualize it, it would basically look like Mr. X T-posing and sliding through the rooms that you're not in, which is fine.
Yeah.
I wish that's what it was, but I'm positive that it's more like well, you shot the gun here, so we're just going to teleport him to this room, and now he's walking his way to you. I'm sure that's what it is more than anything. Because like you said, if you fuck with the game enough and you do it in the right spots, you end up having fucking two of them come down your way like two different halls, which is fucking hilarious.
Which, admittedly, like, I'll be honest, that doesn't bother me that much. Like, is it smoke and mirrors? Is it trickery? Yeah. But you know what? It got the job done. For my first playthrough, I was fucking convinced enough that Mr. X is around any corner, and I gotta be careful. So, you know what? It did its job well enough.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not perfect.
100% agree.
There's that... Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was just gonna say, there is, to be perfectly fair, it's like, I'm not trying to romanticize the original, like, Mr. X or anything. You could cheese him in certain areas. Like, there was the one where you open the entrance to the sewers, not sewers, the basement of the RPD, and you could cheese him in that save room. You could cheese the fuck out of him right there.
You're talking about the remake, right? Not the original.
In the remake.
Okay, good.
It's where you get the elevator that goes down to the first Birkin fight.
Oh, so at first you're like, well, let me go down this hall. Oh, fuck, all the zombies are set free. All right, well, there's this alternate hall. Clearly I have to go here. Oh, fuck. I like that moment.
Yeah.
Because Mr. X just starts fucking...
Yeah, basically what I mean...
He just starts walking to you solo. And it's like, you kind of think in your head for a brief second, do I want to deal with like 15 zombies or one Mr. X? And you're like,
I'll make the zombies, but... No, what I'm talking about is like in the central hall, in the main hall, where you have the elevator, where it's you have to get the crests to open it.
Oh, am I thinking of a different part?
I think you're thinking of a different part. So I'm thinking of where you get the crests, you put 3 crests in the statue opens to a basement, and you take that to go fight Birkin.
Because I was thinking about right after... forgot his name. Ben. Right after Ben dies. That's the part I'm thinking of.
No, not the prison. Not the prison.
Oh, that's right. That's the jail cells. I forgot. Okay. I'm on board now. Yeah.
No, I'm thinking of the first Birkin fight where you got to go under the statue.
Yeah.
If you go right there, you can cheese the fuck out of Mr. X. Like, say he's following you. Say he's hot on your ass. He won't go away. Just go down there and he'll just fuck off. Okay, you can do that.
But... No, well, that's only for Leon. Like, that doesn't apply for Claire, because by the time you could do that, he'd be dead, right?
No, because he doesn't die until you go to the sewers full time. So that still applies for all characters. You can just go down there. It's the first Birkin fight, the very first one.
But what I'm saying is, once you get down there, once you what's it called? You put in the 3 medallions. The passage behind you then closes. You can't return back to the RPD, remember?
Oh fuck, you're right.
And then you need the fucking the special valve key, whatever it is, in order to reopen it. Which I thought was fucking rad.
No, that's cool. And but that area, if you do reopen it, that's where you can cheese Mr. X.
Yeah.
That's where his AI just stops.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying, is that if I'm not mistaken, I believe by the time you can reopen it, Mr. X is killed for Claire.
Yeah, for Claire, okay, yeah, my bad. I was only thinking Leon, but it exists.
That's what I was getting at. I'm just making sure I'm on the right page.
I'm just trying to, like, intellectual honesty, like, just total transparency. I'm not saying Mr. X is 100% perfect or whatever. He does have flaws like that. He probably has lost smoke and mirrors, but I think the execution of an enemy having pathfinding like that is way better than everything Resident Evil 3 Remake is doing. That's a roundabout answer for that.
I mean, the pathfinding and again, like, yeah, flaws. You can kite Mr. X around chairs and shit, and it's really stupid looking, but it is what it is. But the pathfinding for Mr. X alone, not even going into the zombies are so good. How do they fuck that up, man? And
how do they fuck up the zombies? It's the same thing.
In Resident Evil 2 Remake, you go into another room and leave a zombie behind, he's banging on the door, he wants to get through. And he does get through, and they fuck with you like that. And Resident Evil 3 Remake, zombies more than anything are used to block doorways, to prevent you from going through that way. They rarely open the door to get past you. Like,
Do they ever?
I'm 100% positive that it's possible for them to do so, but it's such a rare occurrence. And most of the time, keep in mind, most of the time when they do it, it's almost always scripted.
I don't count that.
No,
I don't count that.
and you shouldn't. But I'm positive that there are moments if you set it up. So, like, for example, the room where there's a safe that you get the red dot sight for the handgun. All right. That room, and there's this large shelving unit in the middle of the room. You know what room I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about.
So there's a zombie right in front of a doorway, and that's the door that eventually leads to the pharmacy and whatnot.
Yeah.
For that zombie, if you put that doorway between that zombie and yourself, and you make that zombie aware of you, I'm pretty sure he does the AI pathfinding, where he'll break down the door and he starts coming after you. And for that area, that's pretty good because that door leads to a narrow hallway. So it's giving you time to prepare. You know what you need to do. You know what to expect. So for that area, it's pretty good. That's about the only moment I can really consider it. It might happen in the hospital, but like there's such a rare moment where you would actually set that up for it to happen in the hospital. I don't know.
I can't even remember it happening in the hospital. Like, I can't remember any of that shit happening. I remember a hunter doing it at one point, scripted.
Well, what it is I think the big problem for why no one will really notice it in the hospital is because by that time you have so much ammo that you're typically finishing off zombies. You're putting zombies down for good. So they don't have the opportunity to chase you.
Yeah, like, fair enough. Like, in my standard playthrough, I was so loaded with handgun bullets at that point, and I had the fully upgraded handgun, so I just said, just fuck it. Just go.
Yeah, well, it was the same on hardcore. And early on, I was trying to salvage ammo, but by the second half of the game, especially after the second Nemesis fight, after the second Nemesis fight, the game basically tells you, hey, we're wrapping up, we're coming to an end. At that point, I'm like, fuck it. I'm fucking swimming in gunpowder. I'm just going to fucking go crazy. It's whatever. Who gives a shit? And I was fine. I don't know, man. It bothers me a little bit because on my first playthrough of Standard and Resident Evil 2 Remake, even once I got to the Nest Laboratory, I still felt like I needed to conserve my ammo. And I still felt I was at my wit's end.
That's another thing, is that Resident Evil 2 Remake kept throwing shit at you. It's like, okay, all right, you got used to zombies. Here's some lickers. Okay, you got used to the lickers. Here's Mr. X. Okay, you got used to that. Boss fight. Okay, you got used to all that. Here's some Cerberus for a little area. Okay, got used to that. G creature. And finally, okay, you're used to all that now? All right, Ivies. Boom. Like, there's a major progression each time. RE3 doesn't really have that. It kind of throws stuff at you at the beginning, and then it never adds much. Like, I liked fighting the new enemies, the Hunter Gamma. They never show up outside the sewer. And the Hunter is, for some complaint, it's a good pressure enemy. It applies a lot of tension when they show up at first. But that's it. Once the Hunter shows up, the game has no tricks left for you. The Hunter's the end. It's the Alpha and the Omega.
The Hunter is the last thing they have in the game. That's fucking crazy.
It's like, I got Palehead, I guess, but Palehead's a fucking zombie. We've seen these before.
Palehead can fuck off. Palehead has he has no place in this game. It's stupid. Palehead is a zombie you cannot kill. And technically...
It's like, regenerating zombie? Fuck off.
Technically, you can kill it, but it's so... on my hardcore playthrough, when I first tried putting down a pale head, I'm like, all right, obviously this isn't gonna work. Let me bring the grenade launcher. And when I saw that wasn't enough, I fucking had it. I'm like, I'm so fucking over this game. This is
Yeah,
so
like,
fucking
on my
stupid.
standard, I shot like 5 times with the grenade launcher. Direct hit. It's fine. Gets up.
Yeah, it's fucking, it's stupid. It's fucking retarded.
And yet for whatever reason, I fucking mag dump it with the infinite rifle. Just fine.
Yeah, honestly, you're not going to be able, under reasonable circumstances, even with the infinite rifle, which to me is fucking insane, you're not going to be able to kill them reasonably unless you have infinite rifle and +2 assault coins. Then you can actually put them
especially
down.
on like Nightmare.
Yeah, Nightmare and Inferno is, oh my god.
Can we just talk about how fucked the difficulty balancing is?
Well, I'll bring this up because this, I think more than anything, this makes me the most mad. When you first unlock Nightmare difficulty and you read the description and the, when you select difficulties, you have like, they detail what's different about them and whatnot. On Nightmare difficulty, it says some of the items are in different locations and some of the enemies are, turned around in different spots. And I thought, oh, wow, that's really interesting. I want to see where it goes with this. Number one, that, like, and them even doing that is fucking pointless because the difficulty is so fucked that it's unreasonable to do it without cheats. So at that point, who fucking cares? But worse than that, that shit stops being interesting after the first area. The Toy Uncle area, they do some interesting stuff with it there. After that, everything else is just, oh, you didn't expect this enemy here. Oh, we fooled you here. You know what? I'll fucking spoil it for you, Doomed.
Go for it. I don't give a fuck.
Remember when I said, oh, if you just run forward after coming down this ladder, it's an instant kill? Remember when I said that?
Yeah, in the warehouse.
I mean, you want to talk about dirty tricks. Like, dude, it just makes me mad thinking about it. So, here's what happens. You climb down that ladder, okay? You hear a growl. You look to your side. Oh, fuck. There's a Hunter Gamma right there. I'm running away immediately. The explosion happens where that crate falls down that Nikolai caused. I'm stunned. Hunter Gamma gets you. Instant kill, you're dead. Fuck you. Like, what the fuck, man?
It has to be the one-hit kill enemy, doesn't it?
Of course. Of course it does.
How do you even see that? Like, how are you supposed to see that if it's like just positioned around a corner and it's a silent enemy?
No, not only that, but what's next to you after you come down that ladder, it's that open giant biohazard crate. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah,
that the zombies come out of later and shit like that. The Hunter Gamma later on comes out of one as well. It's one of those crates. So it's not like you can even see it from above. He's in an enclosed area. And regardless, no one's gonna fucking remember this dumb little explosion that goes off that also stuns you, and no one's gonna think, oh, it's gonna stun me for so long that this is gonna one-shot kill me. It's a fucking trap. And it's not clever. And it's stupid and it's fucking obnoxious. It's annoying.
Any trap that relies on animation stun lock like that, that's not even from a combat encounter, can just get fucked. That's insane.
No, it's stupid as fuck. And then, it's so fucking dumb. So, they try to be cute with the remixed enemy placement later on in that same area. So, for the next biohazard crate that opens up and a bunch of zombies come out. You remember that part, right?
Yeah.
So when they do that on Nightmare, and an Inferno is exactly the same as Nightmare, it's just harder, but same enemy placements and stuff. When they do that on Nightmare, the same animation, it explodes open and the door falls down, but nothing's in there. So it's like, oh, that's odd. I wasn't expecting that. Okay. You get the fuse and you're on your way back. The next one opens up and now it's a hunter gamma and like 5 dogs. And it's like, holy shit, I wasn't expecting this.
Fuck off.
So that part was like surprisingly very difficult to deal with, even with the infinite assault rifle. I couldn't do it. I ended up getting killed. And I'm like, fucking hell. Like that was really annoying. That sucked. But I went to do it again and I was thinking, you know what? I probably have the time to make it to that ladder before the dogs get to me. And that's exactly what it was. That wasn't even an encounter. I just ran and I was fine. So it's just, it's bizarre how they even put this shit together. I don't fucking get it.
This feels like a rush job in a lot of ways. And I know that they keep saying, oh, it's been in development since Resident Evil 2 began. You can't tell me Resident Evil 2 was not the #1 focus, and then this was started with actual investment after that.
Yeah, I 100% agree. If they're
Resident Evil 2 is too fucking beautiful, and it's too fucking polished for that not to be the actual, the moneymaker of the two.
If they're talking about development started shortly after Resident Evil 2, yeah, I believe it. If we're talking about fucking design documents, if you're talking about actual work being put into the game, I don't know about that. You're telling me, because like, dude, if you're putting it that way, you're telling me Resident Evil 3 had an even longer development schedule, but it turned out to be significantly shorter, have less content than the one before it, on top of having reused content than the one before it. Like,
so what the fuck were they doing for
yes.
that extra year? If this had if these games had like, okay, let's say Resident Evil 2 had like a 2-year development and this had a 3. What the fuck were they doing for 3 years then? Almost all of this is directly off the back of Remake 2.
I'll give them the benefit and like be really generous and say it wasn't 3 years, it was 2.5. Because they said shortly after Resident Evil 2 started development. So I'm going to be like, fine. 2.5 years. It's still fucking worse. Like, I don't know what the I don't know. I don't get it.
Okay, you know what it is? You know when this was first teased and it was a guy on like a Capcom employee on Twitter having like a Nemesis standee on a staircase and it's being like, Nemesis?
I don't know. I didn't know about that. If you can link that to me, I'd be.
If I can find that specific tweet, then it's similar to We Do It. It's very similar to that. Where I'm starting to wonder, did this game only start production when that tweet was posted? And it's like they just at that minute put it out. Same thing with like We Do It.
I wouldn't be so. I would say that. I'm guessing this tweet was like a year and a half before the game came out. I'm guessing.
About that, I need to find it. I need to find the specific.
So
1 minute here.
Well, yeah. Look for it actually.
Okay, fuck, no, it's not it. This is a teaser they had back in, after Remake 2 came out. Fuck, where is it?
I mean, don't worry too much. I'm just gonna cut all this shit out. So don't feel like, oh, I gotta fill this space. It's fine.
It's important!
But then secretly, I'll end up leaving this in. And,
nah, fucking leave it.
And it'll be like a terrible joke. And everyone watching is going to be like, what the fuck is going on?
We made it wrong. That's a joke.
We made it wrong. That's a joke on purpose.
God damn, I'm never going to find that fucking tweet again. I'm never going to find it, and it's going to drive me fucking berserk now.
No, that's fine.
It's going to drive me crazy. But I remember in like 2018, they were teasing a potential Resident Evil 3 remake with like a fucking Nemesis standee. Being like, what if?
Resident Evil in 2018, so like just 2 years ago.
And I'm starting to wonder, like, did it only start production then?
Well, now
And
I'm
the
kind of
whole, it's,
I'm
yeah.
kind of surprised. Like that's more time than I would assume they worked on it.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not saying like. Here's the thing. I'm saying they started from scratch 2 years ago.
Oh,
They
like
had
not
literally
even
fucking nothing.
not even the design document done yet.
No, no, nothing.
Not even the planning stages. Good lord.
Like I think it started from scratch the way Resident Evil 2 remake started from scratch in 2015.
Yeah, I think I can see that. I mean, at that point, then actual proper development, and I'm talking about you
A
you
year.
you have to do the design document. You have to you have to cast your actors. Then you have to scan in your actors, do the motion capture, all this shit, not even counting going into the gameplay stuff. This is all stuff that the team has to work with and get going because they can start development what's the term? They can start development with god damn it. I'm trying to say stand-in character models, but that's not.
Yeah, wireframes.
Yeah, like wireframes, like temporary stuff. They can start with that, but they need to get those character models in as soon as possible, especially for a game that focuses so strong in the visuals, like the RE engine does. So really, like, it's about 6 months minimum, and they have to be fucking working hard. 6 months minimum of pre-work before they really get into the nitty-gritty. And then, like, what are we looking at? Like, an actual year of development, and then
That's my estimate.
and then fucking 2-3 months QA testing, bug testing, getting the errors out, which they didn't fucking do because the camera freaks out on you against fucking Nemesis. It's like, oh, thanks. This is my favorite part when I can't fucking see anything that's going on, even though I stopped aiming like 2 fucking minutes ago. But, give me that zoom in. I fucking love it.
It's fantastic, isn't it great? Oh, give me that fucking broken camera that gets me bitten from the back and kills me. I love it.
Like, yeah, like, I can kind of see that now. I could see about 6 months pre-production, a year of production, and then fucking 3 months of cleanup, QA testing and shit. And then fucking 3 months print, get it out to the stores, get it, review copies, get a bunch of press going. I could see that timeline just about barely fitting in there. Certainly doesn't help with the COVID-19 going on. Certainly Capcom
Yeah,
had
no,
to.
that probably fucked a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, like, just probably the launch stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean Capcom had to keep their employees away. They were working skeleton crew without a fuck. They never said it, but without a doubt, it hurt the Resident Evil Resistance beta.
Oh, 100%.
Like, there's no way it didn't. So that certainly didn't help. What was I gonna say? So like for maybe for that last month of just last minute QA testing, they were hurting, and they couldn't do everything that the little stuff they needed to for the day one patch. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I get it. I get it. It's, once again, like, the fact that even in those scenarios, the fact that it came out and that's really the only major bug, the kudos, hats off to them.
I agree. But how about this? Would you consider the awkward enemy tethering? Would you consider that a rush job? That
I consider that bad design, not a bug.
what I mean is not. So this is what I'm getting at. Not a bug, but not bad design either. Just we don't have time to do this proper, so we're just throwing the game together as quickly as we can, and then we'll go back and make certain areas better, whatever we can do. Because that's what it feels like. It feels like the first half is fine.
Could see it.
It's like I like I like the toy uncle, I keep calling it toy uncle, but the toy uncle Moon's Donuts area, that Raccoon City streets. I like that. I like Substation. And then from then on, even the sewers, I kind of like the sewers. It's extremely linear, but I do like the...
But it's fine.
Yeah, I like the sewers. I like you take the battery, you put it in the door, then you have to go around to get the battery again. It's extremely simple, but it's something. I'm not against that. But starting from the sewers, little by little, the game starts feeling less and less. And then you get to the RPD, and it basically pretends to be open, but it's not. There's only one path you go down. You get to the dead end in the showers. All right, go upstairs, get the key, then go back. Oh, there's a liquor now. Once you get the C4, blow up the shower wall, and it's just linear from there. And RPD is just a gauntlet. It's just a gauntlet of, take down all these zombies.
Yeah, straight up.
That's all it is, and it's dumb. And then the hospital's not dissimilar. The hospital's a pretty similar case as the RPD. It's a lot more linear than it seems. Again, it tries to be a little open, especially with the second floor, but I don't know. There's not much to it, dude. And what's crazy, I think it's easy to forget. Like, sorry to cut you off. It's just, no, it's
fine.
I think it's really easy to forget. You do the sewers as Jill. Right after the sewers, you get on the subway train and Carlos and Jill split off. That's right after the Yeah, that's right after the sewers, right?
I think it's after Nemesis. You have the Nemesis boss fight with the flamethrower.
Oh, that's right. After the sewers. Yeah, because everything just starts rushing after the sewers.
It's just go.
Yeah. The sewers, I feel like it's a little more laid back. It's a little slower. But after the sewers, it starts pushing you hard. You return to the toy uncle, the head rolls. You have the Nemesis flamethrower. You have the rocket launcher. And then after Jill and Carlos split up, you have Carlos at the RPD. Immediately after that, you have the Nemesis 2 boss fight, and that's it. That's all you return for Jill for. You fight fucking 3 zombies, maybe 4 zombies, in that super little brief sewer area before you climb the ladder, But that's it. The only reason you return to Jill for is for Nemesis 2. And then after Nemesis 2, you're fucking back to Carlos in the hospital. And then right after Carlos in the hospital, you're in the last dungeon as Jill. And then that's the end of the game. That fucking second half really just... I don't know. It's like, people, we're wrapping up. We gotta fucking push you. It's like the game's fucking tackling you through the door. Shoulder shoving you through the door. The fuck out of here. I don't know. It's weird.
Honestly, there's some weird bits to the enemy pacing. I was going to say this earlier, but since you played more of it than I did, does some of these environments and enemy placements feel more like it's designed around a Fourth Survivor map?
Fourth Survivor? Oh, for the second half, especially.
Yeah, it was the shitload of enemies.
The RPD.
Go.
The RPD, that's basically what it fucking is.
That feels like Fourth Survivor.
100%. If it wasn't for having to go to the 3rd floor to get the key, then back to the 1st floor, if it wasn't for that, it would 100% be Fourth Survivor, without a fucking doubt. But there's a key fucking difference, in my opinion. What makes Fourth Survivor so fucking fantastic...
No, Fourth Survivor's fantastic. I want to say that again.
Yeah, let's be fucking clear. Fourth Survivor is so fucking good. Both in the original game and in the remake. And both of them, they're fucking incredible. What makes them...
I think, Remake Fourth Survivor is my favorite side mode in any RE game. I really liked Remake Fourth Survivor.
Maybe. You're probably...
I might like it better than RE6 Mercenaries. Just a little.
Okay, no. If we're taking it that far, I disagree. RE6 Mercenaries takes the cake for me. But...
I don't know. It's one of those things... I think if I thought about it, you'd be right. But Fourth Survivor hit me right. It felt really good.
I do agree with you that Fourth Survivor is so fucking good. And the remake is just holy shit. But anyway, this is the point I was going to get to. What makes Fourth Survivor so fantastic is that it fucking plops you on this gauntlet run. It gives you these supplies, and it says, what's in your pocket, that's what you've got to work with. Make it fucking count. And getting through that first run seems so fucking impossible. It doesn't seem like you can actually beat the game, but you know you can beat it. You know you can do it, and you start figuring out, this enemy I can avoid. I need to save the Magnum for this guy. I need to save the flash grenade for this moment. And you start optimizing little by little. And what's great is you know everything you have to start with. And you map the whole run around that. So this is where Carlos' fucking RPD bullshit falls apart, because it's not Fourth Survivor. What it is fucking Ghost Survivor. And Ghost Survivor pisses me off because
fuck, you're right.
Because Ghost Survivor gives you nothing at the start, and then it's like, oh, you have to shoot the fucking supply zombie. And now the supply zombie will give you what you need, except you just wasted your handgun bullets. So what are you gonna emphasize? Oh, you're at the fucking gumball machine. Pick one of these. Oh, you picked the wrong one. Well, now you're fucked. Now you gotta start all over again, dickhead.
Survivors.
It's like, fucking... I'm not necessarily against the idea for Ghost Survivors, but I don't think it worked. And I definitely don't think it worked for that, for what they were trying to pull off, for that kind of engine. I don't know. I really dislike Ghost Survivors, and it makes me mad because I want to finish it, but I'll never finish that third one. That third one's just fucking insane to me.
I played the Kendo one. I have no desire to play the others.
Kendo one is the best one by far, and even that one's like, I don't know.
It's not great.
It's not. It's a very weak Fourth Survivor type. Now, what I do like about the Kendo one that I think is interesting is you can take branching paths, and they're slightly different. So that's kind of...
Yeah, like that's actually cool. That's fine.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I'm against the game being like, oh, we're going to trickle down the items to you. To me, that's really stupid for a game mode that is already... It's meant to be completed in under 10 minutes. What's the point of trickling down this stuff? Just give me everything at the start. I don't get it.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, back on topic, it kind of does suck that Resident Evil 3 just doesn't have a side mode like that at all. Like, it doesn't even have an equivalent to Mercenaries.
The closest you're going to get, I mean, you already know what I'm saying. The closest you're going to get is Resistance. Yeah.
I have a theory about Resistance.
Well, I think, I believe we're both going to say the same thing here.
Yeah.
Both games were being made separately until they realized that both games weren't going to be enough on their own. And that's when they bundled them.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100% that's what happened.
Like, I think it's very clear. That's kind of what makes me upset when people say, oh, I can't believe they wasted resources on Resistance instead of doing more with Resident Evil 3.
Oh, they didn't.
Yeah.
They fucking didn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that was the issue here. And in fact, I think it's very clear. If you play both of them, both games are extremely dissimilar. They don't have quite the same kind of camera movement. Just the way they control is very different. Resident Evil 3 Remake controls very similar to Resident Evil 2 Remake. And, you know, the way the camera's positioned, the way Jill walks around. I mean, if you look at the options, the controls are exactly the same. At first, I thought they were a little different, but after going back to play Resident Evil 2 Remake, I'm like, oh, it's actually the same exact shit. You even have the option to sprint by clicking in the left stick. Which I changed it for Resident Evil 2 Remake. I had it so that you hold down circle to sprint. And that's how I played it. I liked it. I actually don't like that for Resident Evil 3 Remake. I feel like...
No.
I feel like
you need to sprint.
Yeah.
And you need... the reason why I like the click is you need that on.
Well, you need to be running at full speed all the fucking time. There's no reason to walk.
You need toggle, man.
Yeah. So, looking at, like, the way Resident Evil 3 plays, Resident Evil Resistance plays, not completely differently. Like, the same controls are there, but the physics are just off. Like, they don't feel the same. What I'm getting at is, if you put enough time in both, you can tell pretty clearly that both games are running on the same engine, but were made by two different teams.
Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6 run on the same engine. They do not play the same.
Do they? Oh, yeah, MT Framework, huh?
Yeah.
That's so funny. I mean...
Well, actually, like, a better comparison would probably be Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil Revelations 1.
I mean, if you...
They're similar, but they ain't the same.
If you want to be really fucking stupid and goofy about it, fucking Marvel vs. Capcom 3 ran on MT Framework.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Marvel 3... did Street Fighter 4 run on MT?
Maybe. Street Fighter 4 might be before then. I could be wrong.
Because I know DMC 4 ran on MT Framework.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure... I'm pretty sure DMC 4 ran on MT Framework as well.
Oh, 100% it did.
I'm trying to look it up real quick. I'm not getting a good answer. I'm going to try for a couple more seconds, and then I'm going to give up.
Yeah, whatever then. But yeah, like, just because it's on the same engine doesn't mean it's going to be literally the same.
Hold on, I think I've got the answer here.
Oh, never mind then.
Okay, so very surprising. I wasn't expecting this. Ultra Street Fighter 2 Final Challengers for Nintendo Switch runs on MT Framework 2.
Get the fuck out of here,
Like,
really?
I guess an updated version of MT Framework. Yeah, so like, for example, Resident Evil 5 runs on MT Framework. Lost Planet 2 runs on MT Framework 2. Oh, Marvel vs. Capcom.
Oh, okay.
Marvel vs. Capcom 3 runs on MT Framework 2.
Okay, so yeah, then Street Fighter 2 Switch and Marvel 3 are not the same game. But they run on the same engine.
They run the same engine, yeah. They run MT Framework 2 as opposed to MT Framework 1. Marvel 3 and Ultra Street Fighter 2 run on MT Framework 2, which is strange to me.
Okay, so little side tangent before getting back to RE. I'm still not sold on the RE engine compared to MT Framework. I'm not sold on it.
Now, what do you mean you're not sold on it?
I'm wondering how costly it is to scan in every single texture.
So
I'm wondering how much of a pain in the ass that is in comparison.
From a budget perspective, you're saying?
Yes. Like, is the reason why we're cutting corners for something like Resident Evil 3 Remake because it's such a pain in the ass otherwise.
So, all right, so, like, I hate to do this. I'll get on that in 2 seconds.
No, absolutely.
Just one thing, so I'll close this out, just to get this out of the way. Street Fighter 4 does not run on MT Framework. I guess it was before that time. However, hilariously, Street Fighter 4 for the 3DS runs on MT Framework Mobile. So it's like, I don't even fucking know.
It's a mobile game.
It kind of is, the 3DS version, yeah. Anyway.
It's a fucking mobile game. That's hilarious.
Back to RE Engine. This is how I look at it. As we keep, the industry keeps pushing forward in the future, people are going to want better graphics. People are going to want, things to look better and all that stuff. So here's your two options. You either got to craft everything by hand or you got to scan these actors in. And in my opinion, I know a lot of people really hate the way people's faces look in the RE engine. Personally, I think it looks fucking fantastic. You get the oddball examples like Claire doesn't look great all the time. And some people...
Yeah, no, I see.
Some people will say Chris's face looks like really narrow and just strange in, the end of Resident Evil 7. But for the most part, I think the way that the RE engine, does people's faces, I think it looks fucking incredible. I think it looks insanely fucking good. Hilariously, the game that would need that the least is Devil May Cry 5, which does
And it
it
has
the
the
best.
best
Which does it
Like,
the best. It's like,
Almost
okay.
every character there looks fantastic.
Oh, it's unbelievable. The cutscenes and when they zoom in on their faces, the fucking wrinkles around them, and when they move their lips, the way they talk, the way their eyes narrow. Any fucking time that V is on screen and he just has this fucking stupid ass smug look on his face, it looks fucking unbelievable. Like,
Oh, Dante looks phenomenal. Like, I actually was kind of astonished by how good fucking Dante of all characters looks in this game.
I kind of remember on the Pixar movie Up. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, I've seen it.
I really like how like this is something I noticed in theaters, and I'm like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. The old guy, the main character, he's clean shaven, but as the movie goes on, he starts like growing a stubble little by little. And by the end of the movie, he clearly has, a stubble. And I'm like, wow, that's really impressive. Like that, that looks really good for an animated movie. Back in the day, I was like fucking 7 or maybe 10 years ago now. I kind of got that same kind of feeling with the cutscenes in Resident Evil 5. They just look really, really fucking good.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. Like, fuck. It's so weird that DMC5 is probably the best use of this engine so far.
Yeah.
Like, DMC5 is what sold me on it. And it's weirdly is Resident Evil than what it's named after. Where it's like, I think 1 out of 3 nail it, and 2 out of 3 have some problems. Like, some of the facial stuff and some weird animation stuff in RE7.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like, I'll have to wait and see what they do for the next game. And if they can use it for games that are not Resident Evil and Devil May Cry, I want to see its application elsewhere.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So when I first played Resident Evil 7, and that was obviously before I played any other RE engine game, I thought it looked really good, but I could clearly see where there were like weird cracks. Fucking Mia's hair had a mind of its own, and it would just fucking spaz out and go everywhere. It was ridiculous. And then like just the way like certain characters would move and talk, it would look kind of, I don't know, it looked weird. But for the most part, I'm like, this engine looks really damn good. But then Resident Evil 2, that one fucking sold me on it. I'm like, okay, this shit looks fucking incredible. Like, for me, that was it. And then Devil May Cry 5, that went even further. So then I'm waiting.
Yeah, even better.
I'm waiting for Resident Evil 3 Remake. And I don't know, for me, it doesn't look terrible by any means, but I think it looks worse.
Good. It looks very good.
I think it looks worse than Resident Evil 2 Remake, but better than Resident Evil 7.
Oh, I'd agree with that.
How do they fuck it up? How does it look worse than Resident Evil 2 Remake?
It's out the door.
God fucking damn it.
I think straight up, it's just get this fucking thing out the door. That's it. We need to strike while the iron is hot. Consoles are coming up. Get this out now.
Like, you have the cutscene where Mikhail and Jill are talking in the beginning in the subway. God, it's like all the shit in the beginning of the game, the first half of the game is fucking cool. God fucking damn it.
Yeah, it looks great.
So you have that cutscene.
I mean, there's little things that are a little weird, like Jill's facial animation when she's grabbed by the bug.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I can't describe it outside of like visible confusion. Or she's like, what's happening here to me?
I mean, wouldn't you be confused? I'd be confused. I'm like, I wasn't expecting a bug.
I wouldn't be confused. I think I'd be more disappointed that I fell for it. Because she fought bugs in Resident Evil 1. I'd be more disappointed in myself.
Hey. She fought chimeras. Let's get it right.
God, I hate that they never brought those back. Those things are the most terrifying fucking enemies, conceptually. It's like they're just chimpanzee flies.
Is that what they were supposed to be?
Yeah, their chimp. If you look at their model in remake, like just get it out in like a image of just the model, those things look terrifying.
I mean, they look terrifying in game as is. Like fucking hell. Yeah.
Yeah, like you get close up, they're like these fucking chimpanzees with like David Cronenberg, the Fly features. They're awful. I love them.
Yeah, fucking and chimeras were, at least in some sense, they were in the original game as well,
Yeah,
but
but
they did them so much better in the remake. It's fucking crazy.
Resident Evil 1 remake is the best. That's the end all to be all of that conversation. That game is the shit.
I'm gonna have to get back to it. It's been so long since I played it, and when I played it when I was much younger, I played it with the strategy guide because I didn't know better. I wasn't like, oh,
It's pretty intensive for a game of its time. Like a lot of games have puzzles quite that heavy. So you know what? I can understand that.
sure, but I don't know. I'm just harping on my younger self. Be like,
I played it when I was like 10, and I had quite the hassle with some of that shit. But
well, that's the thing is I like try to push yourself, do it better, but no. My younger self was like, oh, got to get the strategy guide with the game every time. And looking back, it's like, the fuck's wrong with me?
but strategy guys could be cool. What if they have cool art?
No, that's fine. If you're getting it like as a little bit of an art book, then yeah, more power to you. That's fine. But if you're doing it specifically, like I remember my brother we're getting really off topic now, but
I love it though. It's great. This is what this is about.
I remember my brother getting mad at me because he was playing Final Fantasy IX and I was advising him using the strategy guide. And he's like, why didn't you tell me about this guy? I wasn't prepared. It was so stupid. I think it was the sand golem and the Burmecia tree, the rat people. You have to attack the sand golem's fucking ruby heart in order to damage him. My brother's like, oh, I just can't beat this guy. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm like, I don't know. He's like, look at the strategy guy, figure it out. It's like, it's so stupid.
Well, to be fair, is right there. I'd probably fall for the temptation too. I'm an asshole. I admit it.
Oh man, whatever. That's younger, stupid days. Going back on topic, it's really disappointing. Okay, so what I was gonna say is that like, I think the cutscene with Jill and Mikhail talking in the subway, early on, I think that cutscene looks really good.
Looks great.
Mikhail's scratches on his face look fucking great. Jill's facial reactions more than anything, fucking awesome. Like the way she scoffs and like goes, "All right, I'm in." That little moment is so fucking great. It pisses me off that you have to look for those moments in Resident Evil 3 when Resident Evil 2, that was the whole game. That was the whole damn thing.
Yeah, like honestly, you had to look for those moments for the game to look off. And that's just there's a very specific cutscene with Claire in the parking garage that everyone points to. And I agree, it's fucked.
Yeah, that where she fucking yells at Irons like I'll get
that entire cutscene, her face is just off for some reason. I have no idea why. It's just that one.
It's strange. It's like her eyes are bulging or something. And everyone's favorite moment when she slowly turns to look at Sherry, her face there.
It's like, okay, hold on now. What happened?
Yeah, who looked at this and approved?
But it's like everything else is fine.
Yeah, no, it's fucking incredible. The part where either Leon or Claire, they go into the gas station and Leon goes to the officer, is like, "Do you need some help detaining him?" The officer turns back and goes, "Stand back, sir. I got this." That's just so fucking so short, but the way the officer looks back. The specific look on his face, the way he stretches out his arm, just that moment, fucking beautiful, fucking perfect. Then the zombie drags him down, chows down on his fucking neck, pulls out a piece of meat. That moment is so fucking good. Just scene to scene to scene. Claire showing up at the front door, Leon saying, "Get down." just fuck. I don't know what to tell you. Just moment to moment, like there are no bad fucking parts. Like it just, dude, the fucking part where Ben is yelling, he's like, "You need this. Just get me the fuck out of here." His facial expression, yeah, and then his head pops, like, and it doesn't just explode, like his head just deforms, and his eye pops out a little, and you get the impression that like his skull fucking collapsed underneath. Like, holy fucking shit, dude. It's so fucking good. And then you get Resident Evil 3.
And then it's like...
You get Resident Evil 3 where there's moments of characters, like, being really excited and having these super high moments. You get that with Jill sometimes, yelling at Nemesis. Obviously, the grand finale, where Jill rams the railgun into his mouth. Like, holy fucking shit, was that fucking fantastic. Like,
it looks great. That entire sequence looks really cool with Meat Wall, Nemesis, and everything.
Oh, yeah. That, like, all the little cutscene moments for that boss fight, where, like, the first time she shoots the railgun, all that shit's fucking great.
It's anime as fuck, and I love it.
Oh, it's fucking awesome. I don't know, man. I feel like I said before, you have to look for those moments. I don't know, dude. I like Brad saying sorry and Marvin getting this completely different reaction on his face in a moment. I thought that was great.
Looks good.
I love Nemesis dropping the rocket launcher box the way he does. It's fucking awesome and hilarious.
I love it. I love Nemesis for the first half of this game. He is a fucking anime villain. He is a rival character. It is ridiculous.
Dude,
he's enjoying
great.
every second of this.
He's just taking his time, walking, sauntering along.
Like, he is taking such a sweet fucking time with Jill. So, like, we'll get back to the visual stuff in a second, but, like, Nemesis in this game in the cutscenes is so fucking funny to me. He is loving every second of this. He's taking his time. He Kool-Aid Mans into her apartment and he slowly chases her down, missing every obvious opportunity. He is having the time of his fucking life.
Even his attacks are so fucking strange. So they're strange in terms of like how unnecessarily elongated they are. So for example, he does this one move where when he has a rocket launcher, he'll punch Jill, and that will start like this unescapable animation, scripted animation sequence. He punches Jill, which like stuns her, and she's like dazed. And then he fucking impales her with the rocket launcher itself and will hold her up for like a good minute. And Jill's just like hanging on the edge of the rocket like, oh, what do I do? I'm gonna get shot. And then fucking Nemesis like shoots her point blank with the rocket launcher. Like shoots her with a rocket.
That's awesome.
Which doesn't kill her for whatever reason. I'd expect that to like cause her to fucking explode, and that would have been awesome, but they don't do that.
No, she's strong.
Well, it's hilarious. It's just like the original Resident Evil 3 where Jill can, like, even on hard mode, she'll tank like 2 or 3 rockets and she'll be fine.
Goddamn right she will.
It's like they're not even rockets. She's just, or Nemesis is just shooting like gigantic beanbags at her.
Look, he's just trying to get her to settle down, okay? Like, she's been causing problems for his employers, right? Just calm down.
It's so fucking dumb. It's hilarious.
But I love Nemesis in this game. He's hilarious. Until he becomes the dog, and then he's just a mindless dog, and that's kind of boring. But everything up to that point, he is hilarious, and I love him.
I like the Nemesis 1 boss fight a lot. It is gimmicky in the sense that, oh, you need to use the mine launcher, and you need to use that on his path. So that is gimmicky, but I do love that there's more to it than what Resident Evil 2 Remake did, for example. Resident Evil 2 Remake had good bosses. I do like how with the Birkin 1 fight, you had to specifically aim for his eyeball. I thought that was a little clever and that was pretty cool. And I do like the Birkin 4 fight where he's in his like fucking ultra gorilla fuck you up mode and he's climbing
Yeah, it's
the
like
walls.
the one with the Parasite Eve soundtrack in the background.
Yeah. And he's fucking climbing the walls, and then after he like climbs really high, he'll jump down after you, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? Oh no, and then actually I think you were talking about the one where like he picks up this giant fucking explosive pillar and slams it on you.
I was talking about the one where both characters have to fight, not the Claire one.
Okay, yeah, I was talking about the Claire one, but yeah, the one before that, which I think that one's Birkin 3.
Yeah, it's Birkin 3, my bad.
So those ones are cool. However, it still comes down to dodge an enemy, and shoot it until it kills. Shoot it until it kills. Shoot it until it dies.
Shoot it until it dies.
And that's it.
You know, things die when they are killed.
I like when these games try to do a little something, even if it's just slightly gimmicky. I'm not against that. I like the mine launcher. I dislike the electric generators for the rematch.
Yeah.
I think the electric generators don't really add anything. There's nothing super creative about it. It's just, oh, he went to this one. I didn't even know you could shoot them at first. And what I did the first time I played it, I brought back the mine launcher. And
yeah, I did it too.
And it still works, which I like that it still works. But what I hate is that it does significantly less damage than using the generators. Like you're gonna.
What I hate is like oh yeah.
I was gonna say you're gonna be there for like twice the amount of time using the grenade launcher instead of generators.
Well, I hate that it replaces the original version of this boss fight, which was simple, but it was clever. It's like, hey, you can shoot him until he dies if you want, or you can shoot the vents where it'll spray acid on him, and it can just be an environmental hazard.
Oh, that's right.
It was more simple, but I thought it was more clever.
I forgot about that version of the boss from the original game.
Yeah, it's like, I thought that was better. That's the same thing, but better.
That is better. And honestly, that's better than any of Resident Evil 3 Remake's bosses. Just that part against Nemesis in the original game. That's better because you have Nemesis as normal as you've been dealing with him all this time. And then they add on this option. You don't even have to follow the option if you don't want to, but if you know what you're doing, you can do significantly better. For me, I gave up on it. I couldn't figure out the timing, and I was just a shit. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to run this guy down. And, keep in mind, like that fight has a time limit. There's a fucking timer going on the top.
Yeah, like that's the countdown that's happening.
Yeah. But I basically ignored the mechanic and I played it straight and I did perfectly fine. So I think that's the right way to implement sort of a gimmick is you have this as an option. You don't need to follow it, but it's a little fun if you know what you're doing. Whereas with the Nemesis dog fight and Remake, if you don't use the mine launcher, you're just going to have a bad fucking time. Like, this guy's going to take you a fucking year. Fucked.
It's like, it's too railroaded, especially if you fuck yourself accidentally with saves and you don't bring the grenade launcher to that section.
Yep. Did that happen to you? Did that happen to you?
It didn't happen. Okay, so I didn't bring the grenade launcher to that section. So it fucked me in that regard, but I saved like a maniac on my first playthrough. Just every slot all the way down.
So what I did and what I always try to do in all these Resident Evil games is I try to push myself as hard as I can and do bare minimum saves. Just the least I can do with saving. If I feel like I don't need to save, then I'm not going to save. So for that part, when I first got there on hardcore, what was it? Oh, now I remember. So what happened was I got to the RPD on hardcore and I gave up on the game and I'm like, I can't fucking do this. So then I started over on standard. So I got to that part on standard and I never saved the game ever because I just fucking, if you die, you restart at a checkpoint. So there was no purpose to saving.
Exactly.
So I just kept going and I got to that part and I didn't bring the grenade launcher because I didn't know what I was going to expect. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll die, and then I'm going to restart a checkpoint. That fight, like the checkpoint for that fight is that fight. Like if you die against Nemesis, it just puts you back in the fight. And you don't have the grenade launcher. You don't have the mine launcher ammo. And at that point, you're fucked. You have to go back to a previous save. And for me, that previous save was never. So I had to start the whole game over again. And what I decided instead was like, all right, either I start over again on standard again, or I just pick up where I left off on hardcore. And I got through the game on fucking sheer anger alone. I barely fucking got out of the RPD, and I kept going from there. But it's like, I don't know, man. Why the fuck would they even do that? They didn't do that for the second Nemesis fight. You die there. No. The checkpoint is at the fucking item box.
It's the save room.
Yeah. It's got to be a fucking mistake. It's got to be an error. There's no way that was purposely intentional. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking.
There's a lot of questionable shit with the levels in this game, I've noticed. Where we saw it on the stream when my game crashed, but why is it for the radio call sections, are they always in locations where you can easily get to the progression point, like a door or a ladder or something like that, and you just are blankly walking against it the whole time?
You know what's funny is that when they did that shit, they did the same shit in Resident Evil 2 remake. Like, Marvin would call you in the library, you know. They did it in a way that you weren't, it didn't disallow you from opening fucking doors. You were able to just progress and do what you wanted. It would kind of screw you over a little bit if you ended up, running into a fucking zombie and you weren't expecting it. But it's not like the game prevented you from aiming your gun. Like, you still had full control. You could still do what you wanted. I don't know. The more I think about it, the more Resident Evil 3 Remake is it's a railroaded cinematic experience. It's not it's not an open-ended survival horror like the previous games. Even compared to the original Resident Evil 3, this one is fucking if so, like, I mean, this is going to sound blasphemous, but if we're looking at it from this point of view, what genre does this adhere to?
Action.
What style of game? What kind of player is this meant to attract? At this point, Resident Evil 3 Remake is less in common with Resident Evil and more in common with some shit like fucking Uncharted, where it's just, here's level 1, here's level 2, here's the cutscenes, here's the moments, here's the set pieces.
I don't even want to. You know what it reminds me of? Like, at least in pacing, it's like Last of Us.
Yeah. And, like, so here's the thing. Like, I don't hate Last of Us. I actually think that game's fairly decent.
I like it.
I think it's a decent game. When Last of Us, at least sometimes, like, Last of Us has a shitload of fucking set pieces. But so here's a moment I like about Last of Us. When you're pushing the car to get it started to run. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So that's a neat set piece because you have to divide your attention between shooting the car and then attacking the zombies that are coming after you. So that's a cool set piece where it's like, yeah, you're holding forward on the left stick, but you also have to do this. When Resident Evil 3 Remake does set pieces, it's literally just hold forward on the left stick.
Yeah.
And
It's okay. Thanks.
thanks, my favorite. Oh,
That entire opening set a bad taste in my mouth.
so I'm fine. I'm actually fine with the opening. Oh man, excuse me.
No, it's okay.
I didn't bring water. Oh well, whatever. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Fine.
I'm fine with that opening. With the exception that it goes on for a little too long. I'm fine with how action heavy and cinematic it is, with Nemesis just going fucking crazy on you throughout that apartment building. You know, I'm cool with that. And if that was only in the opening, then that would be fine. But then they do it again when Jill is running from Nemesis and he's burning down the building. It's not quite as scripted and not quite as, fucking cutscene style.
But it may as well be.
But it may as well be. You only have one path to go through and you're just running through the loops. So they do it again there. They do it again when Dog Nemesis first shows up on the bridge. They do it again there. They do it again when Dog Nemesis grabs Jill with the tentacles in the labs.
Yeah, it starts dragging her around.
She has to fucking go forward. They do it again when Jill has to blow up Nemesis with the railgun, but in that sense, it was fine because it was like a culmination. It was an ending. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, it's the slow of again, it's supposed to be the climax of just the slow, okay, now he's fucked now. This is it.
Yeah. Just like Nemesis has been taking his time with you, now it's your turn to have fun with him.
And it's like, again, I can understand that one. That one gets passed, but like
Exactly.
the entire opening, like complete with the car, and the fact that it takes so long to get to the subway, where, for all intent and purpose, the game starts. That's excessive.
Yeah, 100% agree. I'm fine with the apartment building, but then that should have been it. Then you get to this segment with Brad, where Jill's walking slowly, really. Because you're trying to catch up to Brad. It's just, I don't know. She's walking so slow, and that part takes forever. Then you get to the bar. There's a cutscene. Then you're walking the streets. You get the handgun. You walk the streets. You get to the warehouse, and Dario gives you a piece of his mind. Then you get to the parking garage. You get the elevator. It's like, fuck, dude. Then you
get to the roof.
You get to the roof.
car.
You get to the car. You get to Carlos showing off with the rocket launcher, even though he basically wasted one of the rockets, but we're not going to talk about it. It's like, how do they fuck it up when Resident Evil 2 did it fucking perfect? You got
Resident Evil 2's opening is fantastic.
You get the gas station, then you get a cool cutscene, then you get, and by the way, a cool unbroken cutscene. Because unlike Resident Evil 3, we basically get like short cutscene, short gameplay, short cutscene, short gameplay for the whole opening, and it's just, I don't know, man. When it's at that point, when you're gonna do that, the whole fucking thing might as well be a cutscene.
The entire sequence may as well then.
Yeah.
It's fucking infuriating.
The part where Jill is slowly walking after Brad, make that a cutscene, give me some decent camera angles, do something with it, Like, I don't know, man. Every fucking video game does this, and it really annoys me. But the part where the helicopters fly overhead and they go off screen, I miss it every time. I always forget they're coming. Why isn't, I would like to look up at them, and see them coming. Why isn't that a directed cutscene? I don't fucking get it.
Don't worry about it.
No, I'm gonna fucking worry about it. I'm gonna worry about it because I need shit to complain about. Otherwise, I'm just not gonna have a fulfilling life. I don't know, man. It's annoying.
Well, there's already so much here to complain about. This gives us a fucking full serving of complaints.
I would like to bring up again briefly, like I said on the stream, I fucking love the image of Brad chasing after a helicopter. That's fucking
It's
beautiful.
poetic justice. Like, okay, if that was intentional, that's fucking brilliant. That's perfect.
You know what? If that wasn't intentional, I'd be extremely disappointed. Like
Yeah, because come on, that's fucking hilarious.
there's no way it wasn't intentional. There's no way they didn't do it on purpose.
It's like you die as you live, you fucking bitch.
You know what? How did that helicopter blow up?
Nemesis probably shot it
Yeah,
with his mind.
I was gonna say, like, with what?
His mind.
You know what? If Nemesis, but you know what? They couldn't show. How much you want to fucking bet that when they originally did that cutscene, Nemesis shot it with a rocket launcher. But then later,
Just like the original.
but then later on, Jill goes like, he can use weapons? And then someone on the team was like, wait, Jill already knows he can use weapons. And then they had to decide, do we cut that line out or do we change the first cutscene? You know what? Let's change the first cutscene, but then they didn't fucking finish changing it. That's what it fucking is. God fucking damn it!
That's probably it. That's probably fucking it. And you know what? You want to know the worst bit? There's an easier justification without any guns. Nemesis is strong enough to lift like massive concrete pillars and chunks. What if he just threw one at the helicopter?
What if he just threw a car? There's plenty of cars.
Like just a big ass like van or something.
Yeah,
and just
sure.
like chuck it.
Fuck it. It would be an excellent way to show a display of strength. It'd be overkill. It'd be dumb and ridiculous, but fuck it. The entire opening cutscene was clearly meant to be Nemesis is fucking strong. This guy's practically unstoppable. Might as well have him toss a fucking truck.
I mean, he busted through a wall, he picked up a wall, and tried to like slash you with it.
Yeah, that
He
was
got
a bit much.
exploded. He got lit on fire. He survived a rocket. He caught a rocket out of the air. He got hit with a car and driven off a roof. Like the entire point is that he's the Terminator. You can't stop him.
You say he's the Terminator? I mean, it's not just me. That's basically Terminator music, right?
It's fucking Terminator music.
Dun dun dun. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how is this not copyright? Like, what the fuck?
It's just he's a Terminator. He's just the T-800 from the first movie.
That Terminator 2 opening music is pretty fucking great.
Oh no, Terminator 2 is just great. Period.
It really is. But anyway, I feel like there was something else I wanted to say, but it's out of my mind right now.
Well, I wanted to say like comparison of strength. Like Mr. X had that exact same thing, but you want to know a difference in these games' philosophies in presentation and design. Just compare the introduction to Nemesis to Mr. X. Mr. X, you know how they introduce him?
Yeah.
He picks up the helicopter, starts walking towards you. No cutscene, nothing special. It's here I am, let's go. No bullshit.
That's such a good fucking point.
It's effective. It's right to the point. And it doesn't go on and on. It does not waste your time. It is extremely economical. It's like, okay, Mr. X is scary. Why? Because he's fucking huge. He's like 9 feet tall. He's walking towards you with extreme intent. You know he's strong. How do you know he's strong? He lifted a helicopter with one hand. Mr. X is gonna fuck you up.
How do you get to that rooftop? I forget. Because you don't just walk around the helicopter, right?
Helicopter crashes, so you gotta take the long way around. And once you take the long way around, you get to the other side of the helicopter.
Yes.
And Mr. X clears the path for you because he lifts the helicopter with one hand. And he starts walking towards you. It's like, let's fucking go.
I remember now. I completely remember now. You have to take what it was, you have to get to the 3rd floor. From there, you climb a ladder,
Yeah, you take a ladder
which then
down.
breaks. Remember the ladder breaks?
Yeah. It's like, this is your one path.
Exactly. So now you're like, well, the ladder's broken. Where do I go now? There's the helicopter hallway, but it's on fire. so you need to put the fire out. Once the fire is out, as a player, you're like, all right, well, let's check out this helicopter and, see what I have to work with now. You're not expecting Mr. X to show up there. It's such a good fucking introduction.
And it's simple. It is such, like, you have the one cutscene of him, like, squishing Ben's head, right? Okay, fine.
Well, that's after his introduction, right? I'm positive.
I think that's either after it or that's before it in the Leon campaign. But if you do Claire first, you don't even get that. His introduction is just raw the helicopter.
Man, I'd have to play it again.
Yeah,
but
I usually play Claire first, so I'd have to play Leon again. But
I'm pretty sure if you play Leon first, his introduction is the same. But I could be wrong.
Okay, well, straight up. Then.
But I could be wrong.
If it's the helicopter, then at the end, well, that's the first proper reveal then.
Oh no, it's the first proper reveal for sure, and it's possible that his teaser reveal was him killing Ben. That is possible, and I'm misremembering. But I think his first reveal period was the helicopter, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be mistaken. Oh, it's 100% effective.
Like, if it's not Ben, it's that. And that is such a stylistic contrast to what makes Resident Evil 2 work and why Resident Evil 3, in my opinion, really does not.
Well, in comparison, you have so here's the thing. We were already introduced to Birkin before. We already know he's strong. So it's not necessarily a fair comparison. But the way Resident Evil 3 Remake does it is kind of similar to the way in Resident Evil 2 Remake, Birkin just fucking one-shots Mr. X. And it's like, oh, if you thought Mr. X was tough, look out for this guy. It's like, okay.
Okay, to be fair, I like that for one reason. Well, one, I didn't see that coming.
Oh, I didn't see it coming either. Like, that was fucking ridiculous.
As, like, well, Ant's question definitively answered, I guess. Who would win in a fight? Fucking Birkin.
Well, we don't know the true answer. Because Birkin snuck up on him, and Mr. X has a limiter. So, actually... No.
Yeah, actually. So I guess we're asking, like, revealed Tyrant versus Birkin, but which Birkin? Because that's not revealed Birkin.
Oh, no, we'd have to... if we're going to do, like, a full-on, full power fight, it would have to be...
It's fucking Birkin.
Well, it would have to be, Tyrant Unleashed, so, the limiter's off and he's transformed, versus level 4 Birkin, which is the Birkin before he becomes a blob monster.
Yeah. Level 4 then. Level 4 would just fuck his day.
I mean, even level 3 would give him a run for his fucking money.
Yeah, Birkin definitively, in my opinion, beat the shit out of Mr. X.
Probably, yeah. I don't know.
But back on topic, like, that I thought was better than a lot of the Resident Evil 3 stuff because it was quick. It was quick and to the point of, problem.
It was quick, to the point, and it was all, well, not all, but majority in-engine. You don't need a specialized cutscene in order to tell me, watch out for this guy, he's really fucking good. So, you can show that to me in the gameplay. You can introduce that to me in the gameplay. I don't know, man.
Like, Mr. X does that. I don't know. Like, it's that's the tonal thing that gets me with this one, is that it seems like this weird halfway point between the really ridiculous Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6, and then the new tone of our Remake 2, where it's a little more grounded than the others. It's still campy, it's still a B-movie, but it's less overtly ridiculous. And this one's kind of toe the line, where it's like, okay, so you have the slower gameplay, the slower characters, kind of the clunkier controls, like, not clunky, but like more deliberate, like slower. Well, everything's much slower.
They're more limited, and they're meant to put limitations on the player, which is good. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, like, and then you pair that with Jill having, like, fucking fire duels with Nemesis on rooftops, jumping out of exploding buildings twice, like, fucking railguns firing and the earth shatters beneath her. Like, it doesn't know what it wants to be. It doesn't know if it wants to be the ridiculous Resident Evil of like 4, 5, and 6, or if it wants to be like Remake 2. It's this weird compromise.
I mean, you're talking about grounded, and then you have fucking Nikolai over here, who's literally a James Bond villain.
Yeah. And it's like, okay. And then you got like fucking dog Nemesis just doing parkour flips all over buildings everywhere.
Dude, I'm assuming you did. Did you just let Nemesis run around the buildings?
Yes.
You saw the way...
I was like...
You saw the way he fucking King Kong'd his way to the top of the clock tower?
Yeah, and he fucking does like a from the top rope slobber knocker right on top of you.
Yeah, it's fucking absurd. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah.
Fucking wrestling moves.
So, to be clear, I'm not against these games having a more serious tone. And, conversely, I'm not against at all these games having a more goofy tone. I love both. It just, you gotta pick one, you gotta stick with it, and you gotta do it right. You try to do both, and again, like, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and especially Resident Evil 7, they sure as fuck have their moments. But Resident Evil 3 does not juggle them very well at all.
No, like, it feels like a complete disconnect between what, like, even Resident Evil 7, with, like, a lot of people complain about Ethan's reactions to things, but it's like, I never had a disconnect with 7 or Remake 2 the way I have with 3.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about it, yeah. Even
the
with...
character I am playing should not be doing the things that she is doing based on the gameplay that I have had up to this point. It's like, there's a term for that. I don't want to say it because it's a dumb term, and I don't want to repeat it, but...
Well, I don't even know what term you're talking about.
It's a ludonarrative dissonance.
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I think that's a ridiculous thing to get all worked up about, but I kind of felt that disconnect here where it's Jill Valentine is like on a light jog. She's kind of like has slow aiming and like just like, again, because of survival horror situation. Okay, fine. But then she's jumping off of buildings. She's just getting in these sick power battles. And this is like early in the game. We haven't even gotten to Final Nemesis. If this was like Final Nemesis, she was doing this shit, fine. Whatever. It's like climax. It's like you're doing this from the very beginning, where she's having sick escapes in burning, exploding buildings and shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think ludonarrative dissonance is inaccurate. I think it applies, and in some games you can get away with it. But not for a game that it's supposed to be more grounded. I mean, this is a similar case. I haven't played it yet, but I think this is a similar case that Code Veronica has, where you're so limited in what you can do, which is fine. And then Wesker shows up, and he does this fight with Chris, and it's like, what the fuck is this all of a sudden?
It's anime battles.
Like, I think Resident Evil 3 Remake is in a similar case where, you know, you're so limited in what you can do. It's kind of that feeling where you see a character in a cutscene do something like crazy and amazing or whatever, and you're like, oh gee, I sure wish I was doing that. I sure wish I had the ability to do this stuff. I think it's a legitimate term. I think it's a legitimate complaint. You have games like, for example, Product Number 3 on the GameCube, where pretty much everything she does in the cutscenes, it's what you do in the gameplay.
Yeah.
More stuff like that I'd like to see. I don't think there's a good excuse why we don't get more stuff like that.
Well, Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2 did fine.
Yeah. I mean, the monsters are
like,
are over the top and crazy, but the characters aren't doing fucking backflips out of this place.
I don't know. It's like the tonal presentation is really weird in that regard, where it's like it doesn't know if it's gonna be a big silly over the top one. Like Carlos can do fucking punches for his counters, just like it's RE5.
Yeah, it's oh my goodness, excuse me, yawning, Jesus Christ. That's a
No, it's all
fucking
good,
good one, man. Like
It's like fucking RE5 haymakers.
yeah,
Shit.
I was gonna say he literally got fucking. They put Chris's punches in this shit. Jill doing a fucking Dark Souls dodge, fine, silly, but whatever. But Carlos is fucking. Carlos is pulling back and giving a straight punch to a fucking liquor. What the fuck, man? I don't get it.
Do you have anything else like specifics? Because like I think it's just the general frustration we're having is pretty consistent. It's if this came out in a vacuum, I think we'd be a little more favorable of it as like a fine enough product. It's like, yeah, it's not great, but fine. But coming off of RE7 and especially Remake 2, this feels like a slap to the face.
So I absolutely agree that coming off of the previous two games, to call this one a disappointment would be putting it lightly. So I agree with that. On the other hand, saying if we saw this in a vacuum, would we treat it nicer?
I don't know.
I'm not 100% on that, because I can kind of say we already had this in a vacuum, and that was The Evil Within, which I think plays really similarly in a way to this.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, like Evil Within, I was not a big fan of that one. I feel very similar about Evil Within to this, where it's like middle of the road for me.
Now, I liked Evil Within overall. I think for the most part, it's a pretty enjoyable and pretty interesting game to play. Totally understandable if you don't like it. Like I'm not even gonna try to defend that game. However, it has the same problem that this game has, where it's giving the player limited controls. It's trying to be slower paced, but then it just fucking dump trucks enemies on you. And it's like Evil Within is even stranger about it because it has dedicated arenas set to fighting hordes of enemies. It's so fucking strange. Like that. Why do you think that this is the style of game? And again, it works for Resident Evil 4 because Resident Evil 4 had extremely slow moving enemies and had very large weak points. Like it was their heads, yeah, but their heads were, very large enough. And you had the laser sight that ensured that if you missed, it was probably going to be on you. But then you get fucking Evil Within, where they have the typical crosshair that any shooter game has, where it's basically an RNG mechanic. Where anywhere within this diamond shape of fucking 4 lines that makes a crosshair, anywhere inside that diamond shape, your fucking bullet can go to the fucking edge.
Oh no, I saw your review where you just showed straight up how nonsense the fucking crosshairs of that game could be. No, straight up.
Yeah, and it feels fucking terrible. And that shit is perfectly acceptable in a typical shooter where you have loads of ammunition and you have, typical assault rifles and machine guns, and you're expected to miss half your bullets. In that scenario, there ain't a damn thing wrong with it. But if you're going to pretend to be Resident Evil 4 and double the speed of the enemies and have an RNG mechanic behind your bullets and not having some easy way to do crowd control, in the case of Resident Evil 4, it was the roundhouse kick, you're telling me you're not fucking giving me any of those 4 fucking attributes? At that point, you're making a game just for the sake of being difficult. There's no reasonable challenge here. There's nothing interesting or enjoyable here. You're just making a game purely for the sake of being fucking obnoxious.
Yeah, 100%. It's I was playing a game recently where the difficulty modifier, it's essentially the core difference between all difficulties is your bullets are less accurate the higher it goes, and I lost all fucking desire to even challenge myself. I just coasted. I didn't give a shit because like I cannot stand like okay, so artificial difficulty is a term that's thrown around a lot. That's artificial difficulty.
Yeah. I think when people say Dark Souls has artificial difficulty, that doesn't really apply. Dark Souls has typical RPG difficulty where you just level up enough until you can handle the game. The game hiding enemies and, playing dirty tricks, like, that's not artificial difficulty, that's just dirty tricks. But
That's just bullshit.
yeah, it's just bullshit. But even in that case, I would argue it works better in Dark Souls because it's meant to be a faster paced game. And when you die, you come back quickly. And I mean, you're kind of expected to die. And also in Dark Souls, you don't have ammunition unless you're relying on bow and arrows completely for whatever reason. But you don't have ammunition. Repairing weapons is easy, and your healing items are always replenished. It's you never worry about putting yourself into an unwinnable situation. You just keep coming back to it until you get it. But Resident Evil 3 has this kind of Resident Evil 3 Remake has this kind of design philosophy as if it's pretending to be Dark Souls, where it's throwing these enemies at you to the point where you're almost forced to get good at the dodge mechanic. Not trying to say that the dodge is the same as it is in Dark Souls, because it's not exactly the same, but it's saying that you need to use this option in order to avoid enemy attacks, which I don't feel works in this game. And then it throws these fucking dirty tricks at you. Again, Resident Evil 2 Remake has dirty tricks. The liquor in the attic, I don't like that one. I think that takes it a little too far. Sometimes there's a zombie lying on the floor that is hidden just enough that you don't quite see him. That's another dirty trick. But Resident Evil 2 does it in reservation. It holds back a little. Resident Evil 3 goes all the fucking way with it. Again, you can't walk 5 steps without the game trying to fucking throw something at you. It's fucking dumb. It's fucking stupid. You want to know something stupid? I just fucking remembered on the Nightmare difficulty for no fucking reason at all. Like, even now, they're like, this is fucking insane to me. So this happens often. Here's an example of when it happens. You're walking on the way to Kendo's, all right? You jump off of the fire truck, okay?
Yeah.
So you walk to the left end of the street till you get to the sidewalk, and you're running along the buildings because the opening to Kendo's is on the left end, and there's a fence that forces you to go that way. Okay. Right before you get to the fence opening, literally out of nowhere, by fucking magic, a zombie infected with a parasite falls from the sky and falls in front of you. And,
fantastic.
And he's stunned while he does it, so you just run past him, and it doesn't affect anything. But it's fucking bizarre. Like, for what purpose? Like, I don't, like...
That feels like something that actually would fit in the Evil Within.
Yeah, because, Evil Within, the whole game's a dream sequence, and that whole game is fucking strange. Yeah, so it feels like it would fit there. Yeah, like, if they do some stupid shit like that, and they probably did, and I just don't remember. But in the Resident Evil universe, like, that makes no fucking sense. It's fine when the pale zombie falls off the ledge because you see him from a distance and you know something like that's going to happen, so it's fine. But in this case, and they do it a couple of other times, you get zombies literally just falling from the fucking sky. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I don't know, dude. I don't know what the fuck is going on, dude.
Do you have anything else? Because there's only one thing we haven't really touched on for a legit complaint, and after that, I only have like a last closing question just for a vague discussion. But like for RE3 in particular, you got anything else?
Um, I kind of wish I could talk about Resistance, but you haven't touched it, so there's
Yes,
really no point.
unfortunately, I can't talk about Resistance.
Yeah.
Honestly, just straight up, just do a review of Resistance, like straight up.
No, that's what I'm planning to do.
Okay,
I'm
no,
gonna
fair enough.
handle Resident Evil 3 and Resistance separately, and the Resistance review will be much shorter. There's not necessarily a whole lot to talk about, but I would rather put Resistance in its own 7-minute video rather than add on 7 minutes to the Resident Evil 3 review. Is what I would rather do.
Okay, fair enough. No, I can see that. It makes sense.
Um. Anyway, aside from that,
Because I got one big complaint.
I think I'm pretty much covered. I think I said just about everything. I'm sure there's something else in my head, but
There's probably a bunch, but you know what?
we
It's
got
like,
we got the
I
vast
think
majority.
the general gist
Yeah.
is out that this is very disappointing for the both of us.
Yeah, I think we both got the vast majority. But what's the next thing you want to bring up?
It's going to be very brief. It is the entire concept of the achievement-based item shop for
Oh.
just game-breaking gear is ridiculous, and the difficulty modes should not be balanced around shit like that.
That's
Fuck that. That's stupid.
That's what I forgot to bring up. Yeah. Look,
I have nothing else to say. I think that's just stupid.
I'm not against the point system, and if you want to lock your special items behind that, that's fine. What I find absolutely fucking insane is that the special items do not negatively. Oh man, excuse me. The special items do not negatively impact your ranking.
No.
And that is a Resident Evil staple for like every fucking game in the series. That if you use a special item, it warns you this is going to lower your ranking.
Yeah. But I can tell you exactly why. Because I haven't played a Nightmare on Inferno yet, and I don't know if I will at this point, just being perfectly frank. But I think those might just genuinely be impossible to S rank without the special weapons. Because of how fucked the balancing is with the difficulty here. It might just be impossible.
So I'm thinking, would it be... So Inferno, I'm positive some psychopath has probably already done it. You know, beat Inferno without special items, which is just like I can't even fucking imagine. But I'm thinking, is it possible to even S rank the game without special items? I mean, you would have to.
I think on standard you might be able to.
No, yeah. Standard's not that bad as far as difficulty goes.
Yeah, standard. I'm pretty sure that's possible.
Yeah. Hardcore, I want to say it's possible, but you really like you can't fuck around.
The margin for failure is big.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, the
other way
margin
around.
for error is small. Yeah. Like, you don't have a lot of wiggle room. You gotta be good.
Yeah. Margin for error is very small, and don't fuck up. It's like it's like when James Rolfe reviewed Superman 64. It's like if you fuck around too much with these rings, you're not gonna make it.
It's like Silver Surfer. You just can't fuck up ever.
To go too far to the left, you die. Go too far to the right, you die. Go up, you die. Go down, you die. You die. Yeah. Margin.
I don't know. Like, I think it's almost as if they just put those items in there because they know that actually getting these ranks. I don't think anyone on the staff could do it.
Well,
And I don't think any of the testers could do it.
here's the thing. I know I'm thinking about it. I kind of just answered my own question, but I don't understand why. Okay, here's the thing. All right. Resident Evil 2 remake, for example, you have Fourth Survivor. Later on, they get Ghost Survivor. You know, that's that game's additional content. For Resident Evil 3 remake, what single player additional content do they have? They don't have anything, But what they were able to at least throw together is 2 higher difficulties, which both higher difficulties are exactly the same. The only difference with Inferno is they remove like 80% of the typewriters. Like there's barely any save points, and there's no checkpoints anymore either. So when you die, you go back to the previous checkpoint. So whatever. So they did that. They removed like 50% of the ammo pickups. So there's barely any ammo. There's barely any ammo. And then all enemies are just stronger overall as well. But besides that, the enemy placement for assisted, standard, and hardcore is the same as far as I know. And then it's different for Nightmare, but then it's the same for Nightmare and Inferno. So all they did was just these 2 insane difficulties, and then if you want to beat them, you have to grind for stuff. And that's the additional content. And I think that's fucking weak.
No, agreed.
Like
it's like the lack of mercenaries is like, this feels like lack of mercenaries, because these special items feel like the kind of things that you'd unlock by getting certain scores and mercenaries.
Oh, well, I mean, that's what it was. You know, you build up a shitload of money in mercenaries.
Yeah.
And you can bring back the infinite rocket launcher, the infinite CQBR, and then infinite for all weapons. Which infinite for all weapons isn't in this one because, you know, fuck having fun. Whatever.
This just feels questionable. Like, one, the lack of mercenaries is just questionable, but the shop could have worked if it wasn't based on achievements that you unknowingly may or may not get, and have trap items that don't matter, like item pouches.
It's pretty crazy that like put it this way, you can have players who don't care for achievements. I don't think that's a crazy statement, you know?
I don't give a fuck about achievements.
Sure. So you have people who don't care about achievements, but it's far from unreasonable to say, I don't care about achievements, but I do want more gameplay options. And you can look at higher difficulties as additional gameplay. But then you lock the tools to even attempt those additional gameplay. You lock those tools behind achievements. And it's just...
And here's the thing. Some of these achievements are fucking insane. Like, kill 1100?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
It's just...
And you're not gonna get that one unless you have a save point of Carlos at the hospital.
Yeah, unless you grind like a motherfucker, you're not going to get half these things. And the fact that I am grinding in save files in a single-player Resident Evil game, it's like, at least have mercenaries. At least have something like that where the entire point is to grind. And it's just improving your score, improving something like that. Like, something, for fuck's sake.
You know what? They couldn't actually have mercenaries, even if they wanted to. If you think about the way mercenaries worked in the original Resident Evil 3, God, I don't even remember what the point A to point B was, but the entire mercenaries map was the Raccoon City streets. And
yeah, and they don't have that anymore.
And I'm talking about, you can go to the substation, you can go to the newspaper office, you pass by the Mayor Warren statue, you can go through the restaurant, you go fucking everywhere.
And they don't have that anymore.
I don't think you can go back to the warehouse. I don't know if you can go back to the bar. Maybe you can. I'm probably wrong.
You can't.
You can't, right? Like that's a different section. No. But regardless, like, the map in Mercenaries was fucking huge. And there's a lot of branching. You can go to the gas station. That's another dead end.
Yep.
That has a survivor you can rescue. And if you do, then you get additional time bonus. Yeah, the original Raccoon City Streets was massive, and in the original game. What the fuck would you even do with mercenaries in this one? It's gonna be fucking Toy Uncle, Moon's Donuts, Pharmacy, the subway, the fucking subway station. Like there ain't shit in comparison. It's fucking tiny.
The only thing I can think of is just make mercenaries like Resident Evil 4 mercenaries.
You
Because they basically do that with the Carlos holdout section.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. You could
Like, just
it
give
could,
up, man.
it could work well actually. I could see at least like half of the hospital. I could see that being a more enclosed mercenaries map. That would be cool.
I could see like the Raccoon City streets where the toy store and Moon's Donuts is, like that area, that one area could be a really good mercenaries map.
Yeah, that one in particular with the staircases, you get some verticality there.
Yeah, it's like you could have done it, and the fact that they didn't is baffling. Because even if they didn't want to do the RE3 version of mercenaries, the RE4 one is pretty fucking easy. It's really basic score attack.
Yeah, so what it comes down to is they would need to figure out how to make it interesting in terms of like, so for example, if you want lazy score attack, you just throw enemies in there without thinking about it. If you want good score attack, that's what Resident Evil 4 does, where it's like after you've killed 20 enemies, then a special enemy comes up. After you've killed, 50 enemies, now you've got these 3 zombies with shields coming at you.
Yeah.
That's good score attack, and it's kind of balancing it, and it's saying like, all right, because you're gonna have fucking in Resident Evil 4 Mercenaries, you had 5 characters, so you had to balance it around. Leon has the shotgun to deal with the shield enemies. Fucking Hunk has grenades. I don't remember if he has grenades or not, but like
I'm pretty sure he does.
Just saying as
like,
as
yeah,
example.
I see what you mean.
So that kind of Mercenaries takes work. So I'm not going to say right off the bat, oh, it's super fucking easy and there's no reason they couldn't have done it. That being said, it does show a severe lack of effort that they did not do it.
And it's like pairing that with the in-game store, and it's just more disappointment. Like the in-game store, yeah, I'm not entirely against the concept. It's the fact that you have to grind in the main game with achievements to get it. That's what frustrates me.
I mean, you want to talk about real lack of effort? It's fucking Nest 2. Like that takes it too far.
Fuck that, man. Like cutting the areas. I think we said earlier, it's a remake that cuts more from the original than it adds, and to me, that's inexcusable.
Yeah, it's fucking
Resident Evil 2
disappointing.
remake added more than it cut. Resident Evil 1 didn't cut a single goddamn thing. The Resident Evil 1 remake does not cut a single thing from the original Resident Evil. It only adds.
What does Resident Evil 2 remake cut? I know it does. I'm just not remembering
Giant
it.
spiders.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling to think of what else. Like, that's it.
I mean,
I guess marshalling yard as a level?
yeah. So, man, I mean, listen, Marshalling Yard had some bomb-ass fucking music.
Oh no, the music in marshalling yard is fantastic.
And
if you play with the
that's
classic
right.
soundtrack, Aaron, when you go to the sewer section where you take the tram, it plays marshalling yard there, and it's awesome.
Oh, the tram. They even
It's
brought back the
awesome.
tram for the remake, huh? Yeah, oh, that's right. So it's not the same tram where it's like this giant fucking car that's magically floating on these tiny ass wires. It's a proper fucking train. So yeah. But yeah, they even brought back the fucking tram. Yeah.
It's the only thing is spiders, marshalling yard. Off the top of my head, those are the only two things that are not present.
Yeah, and I was gonna say like Marshalling Arm has fantastic music, but there wasn't much there.
It's barely a fucking level.
Yeah, really, Marshalling Yard leads to to that special elevator, the special elevator with the weird ass fucking train car in the middle. you know?
Yeah, that's where you the entrance that was seen in Resident Evil 0 that cock teased the world, where they showed that exact lab entrance.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, it ain't a remake. Sorry, guys. It's a whole new game.
I'm so fucking mad about that. I'm still mad about that.
Well, do you think that we're going to do that when Resident Evil 0 was originally going to be an N64 game? You think that was their plan all along?
It was. I think no. When it was on the GameCube and Resident Evil 1 remake did well, I think that was the plan. But then Konami, sorry, not Konami, Mikami, he basically he made Resident Evil 4 and he fucked off, and then I think Resident Evil kind of went haywire for a while, and that's why the Resident Evil 2 remake just was put off for so long.
Maybe, yeah. I could see that, like, after Mikami left, because Mikami directed Resident Evil 1, the original game, right? He was the creator of the franchise, right?
He directed Resident Evil 1. He created the series, Resident Evil 1 Remake, and Resident Evil 4. And he was heavily involved in the series up to 4. Then he left.
Yeah. So, after he left, he left all of Capcom, right? Like, he was done?
Yeah, he went to Clover. I think after Clover went tits up with God Hand, he was done with Capcom, period.
That's what it was, yeah. It was
God Hand.
He created Clover, which was basically like a second-party studio, kind of like how HAL Laboratories is second-party to Nintendo. What was I going to say? Yeah, after he left the Resident Evil, because he wanted to do more of his own stuff, I could see there being kind of a power struggle, where now you have different directors taking the helm, saying, no, this is the direction we want it to go in. We want to do this. God, and you know what? I kind of see that now with Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2, and Resident Evil 3 Remake. All three of them are at least kind of different. Resident Evil 3 Remake is the most distinct by far.
Fuck. Like, what if that's happening again? And once again, Capcom has no idea where to take this fucking franchise.
Yeah, I mean, you said it before. Like, Resident Evil 3 feels like Resident Evil 3 Remake feels, in comparison to Resident Evil 2 Remake, what Resident Evil 5 felt in comparison to Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, like, that's just kind of really how I'm feeling about this at the end of the day. It's fine. It's directly aping a superior game, and when put next to it, it just, all the cracks start to show.
Yeah, I think that overall, I do think Resident Evil 3 Remake is an above average game. I think it's enjoyable for the most part, at least on standard difficulty. I think visually, even though it's weaker than the previous game, I think visually it still looks fantastic.
Well, yeah, it's like visually it's weaker than RE2, but I'd still put this above like 90% of the games on the market today.
Oh yeah,
just from a pure visual standpoint.
Yeah, I don't know what fucking wizardry is going on at Capcom, and how what the fuck led to the RE engine. But I mean, you have shit like fucking Death Stranding did something very similar, where they photograph their actors in, and they do detailed mocap and all that stuff. So Death Stranding does something similar in that sense. But their visuals, that shit doesn't come anywhere fucking close to what Capcom's putting together. Like, holy fucking shit, man.
Honestly, no. Like, yeah, Death Stranding doesn't... Like, Death Stranding's got the Sony budget and the Kojima name attached to it, who makes money just by existing. And even they cannot compete. It's astonishing.
God, you know what? Capcom's RE engine and the way it's like looks super good visually, all that shit, it kind of feels like what Capcom's doing now is what Square was doing in the PS1 and PS2 era. Like really trying to push grounds and push for more cinematic, not like cinematic storytelling or cinematic games, but how do we make our cutscenes look even better than ever before? How do
Yeah, it's like,
how do we push our visuals to tell a story better than ever before?
yeah, okay, no, fair enough. They seem to be the ones at the cutting edge that everyone else is just kind of, not competing with. Like, even Square, like, FF7 Remake looks good, but uh, these Resident Evil games, man.
They look fucking crazy. Resident Evil and fucking Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry has no business looking that fucking good.
I don't even want to talk about DMC5 right now. I'll just fucking go on a tangent about how it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I pretty much gave my final thoughts with that. It's an above
Yeah, I'm
average
done
game.
with RE3. Honestly, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. I feel like there's a significant quality drop in the latter half of the game, the way RE5 had a quality drop, but overall, eh.
Would you recommend Resident Evil 3 remake to general audiences?
No.
Like not necessarily Resident Evil fans, not necessarily like, oh, I played Resident Evil 2 remake and I enjoyed it, or I played Resident Evil 7 and I enjoyed it, Just general audience. Is this something that you think people in general would be into?
No. No, straight no. And like even then, like I think it's to the point where I would have trouble recommending Resident Evil 2, the remake, to people. To like the general populace, because it's a very niche specific game. You gotta like survival horror.
Yeah, and I highly agree. And that's the part that puts me in the most uncomfortable position. Is I would highly recommend Resident Evil 2 remake with caveats. With caveats. You have to understand what you're getting into. But if it sounds like the kind of game you would love, dude, like jump in. Like, holy shit, is Resident Evil 2 remake so fucking good?
It is head and shoulders better than this.
But then, so then with that being said, if it's not what you think you'd be into, then yeah, like don't bother. You probably wouldn't enjoy it, and that's fine. But then you get Resident Evil 3 remake, where it's like, well, if you're into an actiony survival horror, then yeah, I guess you might enjoy it, but it ain't no Resident Evil 4. It ain't no Dead Space. Similar to Evil Within, this is actiony horror that doesn't really nail it. So, like, would I recommend
Honestly,
it to general people? Like, nah, man. And then you get the fucking, oh, I beat Standard, I kind of enjoyed it, let me try Hardcore. You're gonna have a miserable fucking time. But you're gonna be like, oh, it's the hard mode, I guess it's supposed to be hard. So you push through it, and that's fine. And then you get to Nightmare, and there is no fucking way that anyone with a sane fucking brain is gonna go through that shit. It's fucking ridiculous.
It's painful. It's actually fucking painful how poor the difficulty was handled. And I'm gonna be honest, like even if you're an action horror fan, I cannot recommend this. It's like 4 hours long. We didn't talk about that. This campaign took me like 4.5 hours at a leisurely pace.
So that's the other thing is it took me a lot fucking longer because
because you're playing on like hardcore and then you played it twice technically.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, actually, yeah. So too.
Like, I'm assuming like if you just played it like in one go, it would have been like even on hardcore like 6 hours maybe.
Maybe. I'm probably over exaggerating.
It's because you did it twice.
I think so. Yeah. It felt like the game. It felt like the game took forever.
I thought so too. 4:37 something was my clear time though, and I was very astonished by that.
You know what's fucking crazy? Is Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2 remake, I think is actually fairly long for a Resident Evil game. Like just doing one of the A campaigns period. I think it's fairly long for a Resident Evil game. And there's quite a decent amount of a good chunk of content there. Same goes with Resident Evil 1 remake on top of that. those games feel pretty fucking beefy. But yeah, then you get this game where on top of everything, it's just one campaign, and it's a lot shorter. I don't know, man.
Yeah, honestly, even to fans of action games, like you want an action survival horror, I hate to say it, I'd recommend Resident Evil 5 over this. Resident Evil 5 just feels better. Even like it has a worse quality drop, but when it's good, it feels better than this. And that's the worst part, is that if we're talking in a more action-based game, I'll go with the one where it just feels better.
You know what? Even with its quality drop, the most severe quality drop is when the zombies get AK-47s and they become fucking hit scan enemies, and it becomes a straight up cover shooter, and that's fucking bad. But and it's a bad cover shooter on top of this. It's not even.
It's one of the. It's not win back, but it's bad.
Yeah. You don't know win back yet. Holy
I
fucking
will.
shit.
Oh, I will.
But yeah, like it's not even a serviceable cover shooter. Like it's really fucking bad. But even with all that said, god damn it. Now I'm remembering.
I don't know.
I'm remembering Resident Evil 5 now, because then you have the twirly elevator that you have to snipe enemies a mile away while the elevator is fucking spinning. Why does it need to spin? Umbrella wanted a fucking
nice
merry-go-round.
Sure.
For fuck's sake. It's fucking terrible.
Like, yeah, don't get me wrong. RE5's got some shit, but the more I'm looking back on that, like, at the very least, it's got co-op. It's got something.
At the very least, the first half of RE5 is better than the first half of Resident Evil 3 Remake. The second...
even then, actually, I don't know, because I like the first half of Resident Evil 3 Remake. It's not great, but you know what? It's fine. It's pretty decent. And then it just drops the ball when it becomes this weird cinematic rush to the end kind of game.
I like the first half of Resident Evil 3 Remake enough, but we got to look at it as a whole. You're looking at Raccoon City Streets, I'll throw in the sewers for funsies, and Substation. That's basically the entire first half. You can't all of that. That's basically like 2.5 missions in Resident Evil 5.
Fuck, you're right, actually. Now,
like, that's nothing in comparison.
RE5 was like an 8-hour game on a first run. If you're taking your time with it, it's like an 8-hour game.
Is it 8 hours? I feel like it was longer.
If you're doing single player, like, take your time with it, I think it's probably like an 8-hour game. I could be misremembering. If you're doing it with co-op, it's probably like 7-6. But
I mean, how long did it take us to go through it? It was like fucking...
I think it only took us like... I couldn't take us that long. Like, shit, actually, it might be longer than that. Fuck. Because all I remember is that RE4 is like a 15-hour game. That game was fucking crazy back in the day, but...
Which one? You cut off.
RE4.
Oh, RE4? Yeah, RE4 is actually really fucking long.
That's like a 15-hour game for your first run.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm trying to think now.
I'm looking up.
Fuck. Yeah, is RE5 better than this? I can't believe I'm saying that about a Resident Evil game again, because I really did not like going back to RE5 again, where it's like, oh, it's a shitty cover shooter. Oh no.
Well, I'm looking up the fucking the stream archive.
Yeah, the stream VODs. Like, that had to have at least been
RE5 took us 3 parts, so 3 nights, and each night was like 2.5 hours minimum, maybe 3 hours.
Okay, so cut an hour at least, because an hour that had to have been fucking around.
Yeah, like preview stuff. Yeah. Considering that, it's like 2.5 hours each one.
Yeah, fuck. Okay, so yeah, like 7-8 hour with co-op. So single player probably like 9.
Yeah.
Shit.
I thought it was
RE5 might be better than this, straight up.
I thought it was longer than that, but yeah, I think you're on the ball. You're about right then.
I hate it. I hate that I'm looking back at RE5 in a positive light when looking at the Resident Evil 3 remake. I
Well,
don't like this.
the way I see it is RE5 had a better idea of what it was attempting to do. And I mean, like, honestly, you get rid of the AK-47 zombies and you get rid of the cover mechanics and the game goes up a full point on its own. Like, it's just that one enemy type that ruins the game. It's not like Resident Evil 3 Remake, where the game forces this fucking dodge mechanic on you that you better get good at. And if you want to beat Inferno's final boss, you are required to pull off perfect dodges extremely consistently. I don't know how else to put it, man. Like, I'd have to show you footage of me fighting Meat Wall Nemesis on Inferno.
I'd have to try it. I'd have to fucking try it, but then I'd have to play Nightmare, and then I'd have to play all the way to Meat Wall and Inferno, and it's like, I don't know if I have the patience. There's so many other things I could be doing. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I might I'd consider Nightmare without cheat items, but not Nightmare. Sorry, I'm hardcore without cheats. But
okay, yeah, because I am interested in your opinions on hardcore without cheats, but I wouldn't recommend it. It would be a complete waste of time.
I'll try it, but I'll try it because fuck it, why not? But I don't know if like besides that, if I really want to try the hard modes, I don't know if I care.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, it feels so fucking pointless to me to have higher difficulties and then have the higher difficulties be balanced around shit like infinite ammo. Like, that's fucking that's pointless to me.
Dumb.
That's stupid.
So yeah, outside of that, I have nothing else to say on RE3 specifically. You got anything?
I think I'm done. I think I've had enough. Well,
here's the one. Here's the big one, and we kind of been hinting at it.
Hold on, I'll say one thing. I'll say one thing real quick. This is some strange fucking alternate universe where, in my opinion, the side game is better than the main game. Like, how the fuck does that happen?
Yeah, Resistance. Honestly, like I almost want to try Resistance because, like, from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, like I'm hearing other people like Resistance too. Like Jim Sterling apparently likes it, but it's like, is the fucking multiplayer side game that people were disappointed about better than the actual game?
In my opinion,
it looks
is.
Like it's the case.
Yeah, in my opinion, it absolutely is. And I understand that most people probably, general audiences wouldn't be into Resistance, but for my money, it's the best not asymmetrical horror, just asymmetrical multiplayer game I've ever played. It beats out Dead by Daylight by a wide margin. It beats out fucking Friday the 13th and whatever. I thought Evolve was really good. It's just all of these games have terrible balance issues. This is getting into nonsense. Like you wouldn't quite get it unless you played it for yourself. But the point is, like, it has flaws, but it's still pretty damn good.
Yeah, so here's the real fucking one. The real one to end on.
What is it?
Where the fuck do you go from here?
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean,
this is, like, to me, a very tumultuous time for Resident Evil, where we have 3 very different games in the series. 2 of them did exceptionally well financially. I don't know how Remake 3 is going to do. I don't see it doing very well, just based on the current events more than anything. Like, not even quality, just current events. I don't see it doing very well. But I don't know. Like,
I think you've got a couple of different ways you can phrase that question. Is it, well, where do I personally believe the series should go from here? Or where do we think Capcom is planning to take the series?
I say both. Like, what do you want from the next main Resident Evil game? Like, actual game? And not like a weird spin-off or anything like that. Like, no, like an actual mainline entry. And where do you think Capcom's going to go with it?
So what I want, and this is what I always say, is what I still say, I really want Resident Evil 8 to be in the style of Resident Evil 7. I believe there is huge potential there. Little things like the blocking mechanic, where you block before an enemy hits you, and you significantly reduce the damage that you receive. That was really cool. It's just it doesn't apply here because there's only like fucking 4 enemy types in the entire game, not counting the bosses. You know, you get fucking 2 versions of the mold humanoid that are exactly the same.
Yeah.
You get the crawly mold, and then you get the fat mold, and that's it. Like that's ridiculous. I think there's a lot of potential with Resident Evil 7. They didn't meet that potential in their first go. I want them to try again. I think there's the potential for a great game here. And most first-person horror games are fucking trash. Resident Evil 7 is head and shoulders above all of them. I want them to give this another try. So that's what I want Resident Evil 8 to be. That being said, I would still love another game similar to Resident Evil 7. I'm sorry, I'm a fucking idiot. Similar to Resident Evil 2 Remake. I'm not necessarily against the idea of remaking Resident Evil 0 in the style of Resident Evil 2 Remake with co-op functionality added in. They'd have to change the game. I think they would need to make the train wider, not so narrow. Make it so that at least like 2 people can run past each other. I think there's something there, but it needs to be very close in the style of Resident Evil 2. It can't be like Resident Evil 3. It can't be action-based. If they do that again, whatever. And if not, remake Resident Evil 0, just make an original Resident Evil game. Make it a side game, but do it in the style of Resident Evil 2 Remake. I would love to see Resident Evil 2 Remake again. I don't know. Just give me more of that. I think it was fantastic. I think Resident Evil 7 was also fantastic. Just fuck Revelations. Fuck Resident Evil 6. As much as I like Resident Evil 6, we don't need it again. Fuck Resident Evil 5. You've got 2 archetypes to really go far with. Do more with those 2 archetypes. Once you've made another 2 to 4 games in that style, then we can start going nutty with other stuff. But finish exploring what you started. Now, as for what Capcom's actually gonna fucking do, they're probably gonna do fucking Code Veronica remake and the style of Resident Evil 3 remake. That's probably what they're gonna fucking do, because who fucking gives a shit? That's probably what they're gonna do. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. If not, I mean, people are throwing around the fucking Resident Evil 8 rumors right now. Like, who fucking knows?
Okay, first of all, it's going to take a stance on that. Those rumors are horseshit. The guy who's leaking that was wrong about the Silent Hill rumors not even a month ago. So, enough. It's bullshit. It's probably bullshit. You can't tell me they have a 1-year turnaround on Resident Evil 8 from Resident Evil 2 Remake.
More than anything. That's the one that I'm like, 2021?
It's the 1-year turnaround? Fuck off.
Yeah, 2021, I'm like, that's fucking retarded. That's something we didn't touch on, but I think it's worth noting. Resident Evil 3 Remake launched a year after Resident Evil 2 Remake. Not too dissimilar from how the original Resident Evil 3 came out a year after Resident Evil 2.
No, fair enough. It's just, I think...
It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. Let's get that clear.
I think Resident Evil 3 original was much better than Resident Evil 3 Remake.
Not only that, I think
it's a little better than 2, honestly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not only that, I think it's better than Resident Evil 2.
Original,
yeah.
Yeah, like very firmly original. But alright, so what I would like to see is I was always been saying like I would like Resident Evil 8 and every Resident Evil after this to, if they're going to use any as this base, use Resident Evil 2 remake.
which is fine.
Maybe it's just like the recency of playing Resident Evil 3. I think you're winning me over by going back to the RE7 style and just no, go back to basics. Really go back to basics. I don't know. Maybe it's just playing Resident Evil 3, which is technically in that style, just done just done much worse. Just go back. Fuck it. So yeah, you're kind of winning me over. Resident Evil 8 being first person based on Resident Evil 7. Where I think it's gonna go is I think Resident Evil 2 remake was just a fire. It lit the entire world on fire. I think that's gonna be the template if they're gonna use any. So when Resident Evil 8 happens, I'm leaning on it being third person, being a cutscene like that. Sorry, not cutscene like that. Being styled like Resident Evil 2 remake. However, I think the most likely possibility of a remake at this point is not Code Veronica. I think it's Resident Evil 1. I think people are really on point, and I hate it because it's fucking stupid. But I think if anything's gonna do it, it's gonna be Resident Evil 1.
Man, a Resident Evil 1 remake again.
It's a remake of the remake. I think Capcom is gonna be the company to do it.
Yeah, like fucking. Like, what would you even call it at that point? Resident Evil 1 remake 2. Like,
Resident Evil remake, just fucking full of Final Fantasy.
fucking hell, Resident Evil remake. It's fucking stupid. I don't know.
I could honestly, as stupid as it is, I actually see it happening. This is the one I can see happening.
I'm thinking. So
I don't see Code Veronica happening.
Here,
it's too weird.
Here's part of the argument is Capcom had this idea with remaking some past games, or not remaking some. What I'm getting at is Capcom wanted a lot of games to be under the MT Frameworks umbrella. I don't think Resident Evil 1 remake was MT Frameworks actually.
I don't think it was at all.
But the point I'm getting at is Capcom wanted certain games to be easily ported. And the PS1 games weren't easily ported. They ported them all to the GameCube, but it wasn't necessarily easy, so to speak. Whereas Resident Evil 1 remake, they made that with the idea, with the intention that they could put that on like any fucking platform they wanted. And that's what they've been doing.
And especially with the HD version, it's just Xbox, PS4, PC, Switch, like fucking whatever.
So similar case with Resident Evil 4, it doesn't necessarily make sense to remake Resident Evil 4 because you could just resell the same game and people are still going to buy it. It doesn't have the same popularity and drive as Resident Evil 1 remake, but I still think, financially speaking, that game still has legs. Like, that game is still going to sell in the future, and it's still going to sell well.
I don't know. See, like, for Resident Evil 4, that's proven to sell really well every single time. I don't know about Resident Evil 1. I need the figures on what the, like, say the Switch port, for instance, sold. Or something like that. Where Resident Evil 4 has been ported to literally everything. I think Resident Evil 1 has more of a chance, but another thing is Capcom has talked about the remake.
Oh, have they?
And that's... They have never mentioned Zero. They've never mentioned Code Veronica. They never mentioned Outbreak. And most surprising, they never mentioned 4. They've mentioned 1. So they're thinking about it. So that's the only one confirmed that they're actively putting their mind to. And because they're asking in polls right now for would you like to see more remakes, not specifying which ones they want, I think they have a specific one in mind, and it's the one they've already name dropped.
So they already brought up before that they're thinking about remaking the first game again.
You don't you forget that?
I forgot. I mean, if that's the case, on top of having this fucking poll that people have been talking about, yeah, that's the one they're gonna fucking remake next.
Yeah. Like, fuck. I'm trying to find this. Yeah, here it is. Remake of Resident Evil remake wouldn't be laughable, says Capcom.
Wow, dude.
Like, they've already spoken about it in the past.
Dude, that's probably what it's gonna be then.
And it was as early as 2018.
Now, I think 2018. Oh my god, Jesus!
This is 100% the one they're doing. They're
Yeah.
super doing this one if they're doing any of them.
Oh man. Well,
I'm going to be honest. I think that's the one I call it quits. I think I'm skipping the Resident Evil 1 remake. I'm fucking outsy, man. That's too much.
I mean, I'd have to. I'd have to keep an eye on it, watch the trailers, so on and so forth.
Well, they're going to cut out everything. They're going to cut out the spiders. They're going to cut out all the cool shit.
Oh, fuck.
You know it. Fucking Chris won't even laugh at Wesker.
Call him pitiful.
And gay.
Hopefully in the remake he calls him gay.
That would be great. The balls on that. But no, like they wouldn't. Sorry, if they're gonna do any, it's gonna be the Resident Evil 1. To me, this feels almost inevitable.
No, it's if they're talking about remaking it, then it's in the pipeline. There's no way it's fucking not. I would just have to look at it closely and see if it's going to be closer to Resident Evil 3 or if it'll be closer to Resident Evil 2. And the hope is that it'll be closer to Resident Evil 2, which would make sense because Resident Evil 3 was more action-based, so it makes sense that it's going to be more action-based in the game. It's like, you know what? Whatever fucking reasoning you want to throw out there, have a blast. But hopefully with that same reasoning in mind, the Resident Evil 1 remake will be slower paced again. Will be more about
Agreed.
exploring the mansion and so on and so forth.
I'd play a demo, but I don't know. Like it's at this point, I'm done with remakes, and the only remake that almost on principle I would not get is the one that I think is 100% going to happen.
Worst of all, you're not going to buy a game that Jill stars in.
Dude, it's not Voth.
It
Voth
ain't
not being
Voth.
RE1. It feels wrong. I like New Jill in our remake 3, but in RE1 changing it, that feels wrong, man.
It ain't Voth, so it ain't Jill.
It just feels wrong. I don't know. Like for the future, I'm kind of with you on RE8. What I'd hope to see is first person. I think we're more likely we're gonna see something based on Resident Evil 2 because that did about as well in a much faster period of time.
Well, now I'm thinking it wouldn't be unlikely if they make Resident Evil 8 in the style of Resident Evil 7, and alongside that, they're remaking Resident Evil 1.
Oh, fuck, watch that be it. Like, this is now the style of the remakes, and first person is the future.
Whatever. We'll see how it goes. I'm not necessarily against that idea, but
I'm fucking against it on principle, man. I'm if they do it, I will actually just facepalm. I can't handle this concept of remaking a remake.
So my stance on it is I don't care too much for what you set out to do, for what your setting is. If you want to remake the same game like 5 times, it's stupid, but fine, whatever, that's on you. What's most important to me is the fucking game gonna be good? Because if I get Resident Evil 2 remake, if I get that style again, just, it's another game. But you know what? I say that. But at some point, the surprises are going to end. You know that you're going to throw the statue from the second floor to the first floor. You know
everything you're going to fucking do.
You know you're going to visit the guardhouse. Yeah.
And you know they're going to take out the cool shit, because they've been doing that for all these games so far, especially Resident Evil 3. All the cool shit they took out. Yawn, gone.
No, there's no way.
Giant spiders and the giant spider boss fight, Black Tiger, gone.
Yeah.
Lisa Trevor, probably gone.
I was thinking about Lisa.
Crimson Heads, gone.
No, Crimson
Heads would be gone in a fucking heartbeat.
They have to come back.
They didn't come back for 2 or 3.
No, but I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I guess Capcom wants Crimson Heads. Not wants it, I don't know.
They'd be gone. Like, they would cut a lot of the interesting shit from the Resident Evil 1 remake, and it wouldn't replace it with anything of like equivalent value.
You know what they did come back for was Operation Raccoon City. There's your fucking Crimson Heads. You happy? Have fun, idiot.
No!
Fucking hell.
Yeah. Like, I suppose, like, that's just my stance on future Resident Evil. I think the remake one is the Resident Evil 1 remake is the most likely future prospect right now. I can't predict much for RE8. We have literally no valid information on it.
What are you talking about, man? It takes place in a village. Look at the eye and the two L's.
I want it to take place in, like, I don't know, like a fucking. I want it to take place in, I don't know, the middle of the desert. Or just the complete opposite of what has been in this leak. Out of spite now.
Out
just
of spite, yeah.
This fucking person who is just going to continue to leak shit and be wrong. And no one will call him on it. Because he has a Twitter name. I don't know.
No, I mean, no one calls him out on it because people don't care. I mean, I don't want to insult people, and I don't want to make a bigger deal of this than it is, but it's like when GameStop. It's like when GameSpot fired Jeff Gerstmann over the Kane Lynch review. Like that should have, if people cared, that should have ended GameSpot. They shouldn't have been around anymore. Like, that's insane to fire someone over giving a poor score and a review just because that company was advertising on your website. And like, that was the story. Like, there's no evidence contradicting that. That should have ended GameSpot. But they're still going strong. Decades later, they're still going strong. Well, maybe not decades. That's like 17 years ago.
Maybe not even strong, for being blunt, but it's going.
Well, no, I mean, not strong, so to speak. Like, no one's going to compete with IGN. But they're still around. They're still doing their thing. And they're not slowing down. They're still, doing their fucking interviews with game developers. And they're still a legitimate journalism outlet. And they don't deserve to be. They should have been ended. Even if that was the one and only instance, that's fucking criminal, man. That destroys your journalistic integrity. And they're still around. So, yeah. Why do people look at this guy and they're like, oh, it's a leak. He has the information. It's because they have fucking memories of fucking goldfishes. And,
probably.
No one fucking cares.
He's telling them what they want to hear, too. It's like, oh, new Silent Hill's in production. Oh, Resident Evil 8 next year. It's like, it's everything you want to hear. It's bullshit, but whatever.
That's the other big one, is he's telling them what they want to hear. And that will get you further than... that'll get you further than the truth.
Yeah, the truth is we have no fucking clue about RE8. It's probably not going to happen for the next couple years here. I expect like 2023 at soonest is my anticipation for it. And the Resident Evil 1 remake is probably going to be their big focus because remakes are all the rage right now.
Him saying 2021 is a fucking joke.
No, it's a fucking joke. An announcement maybe by 2021 that it's in production, but you ain't seeing it till 2023.
Yeah.
Soonest, like winter 2022 is my the soonest date I see it happening.
Yeah, I would say fall, winter 2022. It ain't gonna be fucking earlier than that. Give me a fucking break.
Yeah, that's it. That's kind of my stance on like where Resident Evil's going.
Yeah, same here. I definitely agree with you more so now than ever. It's fucking crazy to
About what specifically?
remake.
Yeah, the Resident Evil 1 remake. Yeah, it's the only one they've talked about. They haven't mentioned any other name but this one, so it's probably the one they're thinking.
Fucking crazy, dude. Whatever.
Yeah, so that's kind of our rambling stance on Resident Evil 3 remake and Resident Evil as a future franchise.
Yeah, it definitely went on a lot longer than I expected, but
that's fine.
It's always good to have a good talk with you.
Yeah, okay, so thanks for listening. If you've listened for almost 3.5 hours.
Yeah, right. Thanks for listening, everyone. I don't know. That's about it. Have a good night. Goodbye.
Yeah, take it easy.